2-2 pitch, Kotze, base hit right field. Hard will score. Here comes Gomez. The throw, not in time. Gomez scores, and the Brewers walk off a winner tonight. Mark Kotze comes through.
And we open up a window from the great Midwest. A beautiful night for baseball here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Cincinnati and Milwaukee matching up division rivals. It is game 3 of this 4-game series. What a night it was last night. What a ride for Mark Kotze. He delivered the game-winning hit as a couple of home runs this year as a Brewer. One of them came last night. And he is back in the starting lineup, filling in for Ryan Braun once again tonight. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Miller Park. Brian Anderson along with Jeff Cirillo. Great to have you tonight. Looking forward to a beautiful Saturday night for baseball. And what a ride it was last night, Jeff. The Brewers with a series of emotions. It has been that way all half. And I think Mark Kotze in that 4-inning stretch lived all of those emotions last night.
It's a game of redemption, B.A. Last night, 6th inning, Mark Kotze hitting a home run to go-ahead home run last night to start the inning off. Right there. Looks like he's going to be the hero. Then the 7th inning comes around. Joey Votto slicing a double down the line. Jerry Augustine said it in the opener and got his feet tangled up there a little bit. Lets the go-ahead run to score. Lets one of the runs score. And then the 9th inning, fastball inside. You know what's great about that one right there is that if he doesn't get a hit, the Brewers lose. You know, it's a lot harder to hit when that tying run is on third base. And not only did the tying run in, but he also got the game winner. So, I mean, you got to love it. Casey McGee and everyone excited as ever.
Mark Kotze, his defining moment of the season to this point, a 2-out, 2-strike, 2 RBI game-winning single, and the Brewers have won back-to-back games against the Cincinnati Reds. And Ricky Weeks, speaking of seeing red, he has done a lot of that over the last few years. We'll talk about the all-star second baseman when we come back. Wisconsin is presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Triple Hops Brewed Miller Lite. Taste greatness. By AT&T. And brought to you by Toyota, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Brewers and the Toyota territory at Miller Park. I can't think of a more perfect place to get engaged than the parking lot at Miller Park. And that happened earlier tonight. Look at the little guy, no shirt, working on his tan, giving hugs out. A beautiful scene here. Lots are full tonight as the Brewers and the Reds are ready to go at it in front of a sellout crowd. And we turn back the clock. We're going back to the Negro Leagues tribute game here tonight. The 1923 Milwaukee Bears being represented here tonight. Cincinnati playing along with us. We appreciate that. Got a great pitching matchup as well. Sean Markham against Johnny Cueto. The Brewers a game up on the Pirates and the Cardinals. Cincinnati in fourth in the division, 4 back right now as we approach the All-Star break. And back with you from Miller Park, Brian and Jeff. And Jeff, let's talk about Ricky Weeks. Here's a guy that is on a great run. He's going to be the starter at the All-Star game next week. Ricky Weeks is having a pretty good run against the Cincinnati Reds as well, and a pretty large sample size to do it. You go back to August of 08, putting up big numbers against the Reds.
Oh, I'll say, I mean, his last 35 games, look at those numbers, staggering. The one that really stands out for me is that .431 on base percentage. That means he's seeing pitches, taking pitches, hitting strikes. But if you look at a lot of these swings in this sample right here, all the balls are hit to the middle of the field. That one he rolls over. But Ricky Weeks is an all-star because he's using the middle of the field and hitting the ball hard the other way.
Ricky Weeks with an inside-the-park home run last night, the 3rd of the year for the Brewers. There have been 6 in all of baseball this year. The Brewers have half of them. Great pitching matchup, one of the best in Major League Baseball. Johnny Cueto, Sean Markham. Game 3 coming up next on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Miller Park. Roof is open. A great night for baseball. Dusty Baker and the Cincinnati Reds. And this is game 3. The Piggly Wiggly batting order for the Reds tonight. Drew Stubbs, Zach Cozart, Joey Votto at the top. You've got Phillips, Bruce, and Rowland in the middle. Dusty Baker has Lewis, Hernandez, and Cueto rounding it out. And that lineup will face Sean Markham. Markham's first pitch in there for a strike, and away we go tonight from Miller Park.
Yeah, Sean Markham with the best changeup in the game of baseball right now. Has the ability to cut it and sink it. Look for him to get ahead with his fastball and late in the count go to that changeup.
Markham has been a model of consistency. Had a bit of a run with a hip injury that set him back a little bit, but Markham continues to be a big story for Milwaukee. Made a big trade this offseason, trading away their top prospect, Brett Lowry, to the Blue Jays for Markham. As Stubbs goes down the line foul. Here's how the Brewers line up defensively tonight. You got Kotze making another start in left for Braun. Nyjer Morgan, Corey Hart. The outfield is set. The infield is McGee, Betancourt, Weeks, and Fielder. And Jonathan Lucroy does the catching tonight. Markham has Drew Stubbs down in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Stubbs, the speedy Cincinnati center fielder. And the numbers on Sean Markham this year.
Pretty impressive, that .221 batting average right there at the bottom.
And a swing and a miss. Stubbs strikes out. Markham does not have the overpowering stuff, but he gets a lot of strikeouts with a great changeup.
Here's that changeup. Circle change right there, down and in. Gets the grip on it. Out of the zone. That's where we want to put a 2-strike pitch.
Home plate umpire tonight is Rob Drake. Gary Darling is the crew chief. Bruce Dreckman and Chris Conroy join him on the bases.
Saw those boys last night at dinner after the game.
Any words of wisdom for the umpires or vice versa?
They asked me what I was doing. They said, you look like you're in still good shape. I said, it's blue. It's slimming.
Think about maybe going into the umpire school, perhaps?
I told them they should have a reality show about umpiring.
That'd be unveiling more than we would ever want to know. Zach Cozart pulls one foul.
Well, I mean, they have the Wally Backman reality show. Why don't they have a minor league one for umpires? That'd be great. Let's pitch it.
Umpires are people too. Fascinating lives they lead. Quickly 0-2 on Cozart. Young rookie shortstop just getting his feet wet in the big leagues. This is just his 3rd game. Made his major league debut here on Thursday. He was a starter that night. Got a hit in his 2nd big league at bat. Prior to the series, the Reds made a couple of transactions. They sent Paul Giannis down to AAA, which opened the door for Cozart. They also sent Edinson Volquez, their opening day starter, to the minor leagues. And it's Volquez's 2nd tour in the minor leagues this year. He is having a hard time getting it straightened out. So Dontrell Willis will get the start tomorrow. But the Reds are counting on what has been their ace this year in Johnny Cueto to give him a big start tonight. Dusty Baker's club saw one get away last night. Normally the strength of the Reds, their bullpen. The Brewers were able to come back twice in the game yesterday. They trailed 4-0. Came back to take the lead, then they trailed by 2 runs late in that game. In the 7th, came back to win it. It's Cozart into center. Back is Nyjer Morgan with room. He's got it for the out. 2 going in the inning.
This is the first time I've seen Markham pitch all year, and I always love playing behind a guy where he has great command and he works fast. So then you can see where the catcher's setting up, and you can rely on him. If he's going to throw a fastball inside, and you can kind of cheat to the line a little bit. If you're going to throw a breaking ball, that changeup, then you can plan accordingly. You know he's going to hit his spot, and he puts you in a good position. And that's why when a guy like Markham pitches, you usually see a lot of highlights from the infielders or outfielders.
A guy with good command certainly improves the defense. As Votto wraps one back up the middle. Joey Votto jumping on the first pitch. He singles to center field. Well, he's getting his hits in this series. Votto with 2 last night, including a home run. First pitch breaking ball from Sean Markham.
First curveball he's thrown all game. 0-0 curveball. It's not really what I've been looking for, but He's the MVP, reigning.
So Votto is aboard for Brandon Phillips. What a thriller it was here last night. Hope you had a chance to watch the game, or perhaps you were here in person. Surely by now you have seen some of the dramatics from last night, and it was a thriller indeed. One of the best games at Miller Park we've had all season. When you throw it all together, the fact that the Brewers sitting in first place, they had a chance to go into first place by themselves with a victory. They're matching up against their division rival. A wave of emotions last night. The Brewers pulled it out 8-7. Marco Estrada was the winner. Mark Kotsay was in the spotlight last night, as Phillips takes a strike from Markham. 1-1 the count.
You know, it's interesting when you play these 6 o'clock games here in Miller Park, and when the sun's out like that, you're always thinking there's going to be a glare, but it looks like there's a little cloud coverage right now, so that batter's eye is clean.
They're expecting a sellout crowd as well. Plenty of white t-shirts up in the crowd today. Very comfortable night here at Miller Park. Now, back in the Negro League days, those uniforms would be wool uniforms, but not this time around. They have that baggy look. But what would you say? That's more of a polyester blend, kind of like what you're sporting tonight?
Half polyester, half cotton, wrinkle free.
Phillips in the center field. Nyjer Morgan is right there, and Sean Markham. A scoreless first inning. We're off and running at Miller Park. Johnny Cueto on the mound for the Reds. Good in the throwback uniform. Some guys don't wear it so well. You can be the judge on who. Ron Renicky, first-year Brewers manager. He pushed all the right buttons last night. There's a guy who wears it well. Ricky Weeks. He'll lead off for Milwaukee. Got Morgan to follow, then Hart, fielder Kotsay and McGee in the middle, with Betancourt, Lucroy, and Markham, the Piggly Wiggly Brewers batting order. And Johnny Cueto gets a start for Cincinnati. He has been very good this year for Dusty Baker.
Yeah, 11 starts on the year, and that's a sparkling 1.77 ERA in a total hitter's ballpark. And really, the NL Central has got a lot of ballparks that are good hitter's ballparks, but with that opponent's average 195. Has a few walks, but I mean, very stingy with the hits.
Cueto against Ricky Weeks to start it. And wow, a little wrinkle for Cueto, and Ricky Weeks rips one to right field just for the fun of it.
Again, with that same approach, going to right field. First pitch. Louis Tiant.
I've never seen Johnny Cueto do that, and I'm not sure if that's part of his game now or if that was.
I think that might have been a little tribute. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it didn't work, whatever it was. Check it out.
Fastball in the outside corner. A few years ago, Ricky would roll over on this one. Laser beam to right field.
So Weeks continues to swing the bat well against Cincinnati. This is a trend that has continued going back to late of 2008. Showed you that graphic in the open about the last 35 games. But Ricky Weeks, there are some teams that certain players just dial in against, and apparently that's the Reds for Weeks. Morgan bunts one foul. Let's check the Reds defensively. You've got Fred Lewis making his first start of the series. He's in left. Drew Stubbs in center. Jay Bruce in right. Roland, Cozart, Phillips, and Votto around the horn with Ramon Hernandez behind the plate for Johnny Cueto. Nyjer Morgan had a big hit last night. He was part of the comeback for Milwaukee. Morgan with a triple and an RBI that brought the Brewers within a run. Thrilling win last night. 3 runs in the 9th inning. Morgan had an RBI triple. Mark Kotsay with the 2 RBI single. This Reds club has been a nemesis team for Milwaukee all season. As that one is thrown away. And Weeks on his way to second base. A quick move by Cueto. It looked like it was going to be a close play if Votto comes up with it. Instead, Weeks is in scoring position on a throwing error.
Yeah, quick feed here by Cueto. Down and away. Just kind of fanned on that one. Votto just didn't get the glove down there. Cueto throwing it down near the hands of Ricky Weeks. Just gets away from him.
So the threat of the stolen base allows Weeks over to second base on an error. And Morgan trying to bunt him over to third, takes a ball inside. Nyjer comes in batting .327, has 3 home runs, 17 driven in. Had a nice night offensively last night. Aside from that RBI triple in the 9th, he also singled in a run in the 5th inning last night. 2 hits, drove in 2 runs last night. That one's hit pretty well to right. Back is Bruce. Should be deep enough to get Weeks over to third. And no problem for the speedy Weeks. So Morgan a productive out, and the Brewers with a runner 90 feet away. 1 man gone, and the muscle coming up. A lot of ways to advance a runner in a spot like that. Morgan showed bunt, ends up with a fly ball.
Yeah, you gotta love if you have a guy like him in the number 2 hole, because he takes pitches. He can do a lot of ways to get on base. Very creative guy.
And Corey Hart takes one in on the hands.
If you watch this at bat right here, infield's in. Cueto's either going to try and pound Corey Hart in, just like Cordero did last night, until he got to 2 strikes. He's either going to go hard in, or he's going to go hard slider away. Those are 2 ways he's going to attack him right here. That first pitch was up and in.
Cueto has that great slider, his big strikeout pitch.
Trying to get him to roll over it or jam him.
Infield in early for Dusty Baker. Bit of a surprise here. I think Baker certainly knows how well Sean Markham has pitched this season. Runs should be at a premium tonight. You never know how the game will work out, but you figure with these 2 pitchers, there might not be many scoring opportunities. Corey Hart had 3 hits last night. Like Weeks, he's having a great run against Cincinnati this year as well. And Hart drives one to right, a base hit. Weeks will score, and the Brewers off to a great start tonight as Corey Hart delivers with an RBI single, and it's 1-0.
Yeah, Corey Hart 2-0 slider out of the plate. Cueto tried to get ahead of him inside with the first 2 pitches. Corey wasn't biting, and he got a slider out over the plate. That's a productive at bat right there.
And Ricky Weeks safe at home, safe and secure. New York Life scoring the first Brewers run. That's a good sign when Hart starts to hit the breaking ball. And he continues on a tear at the plate, filling in for Ryan Braun in the 3-hole in the batting order.
Is there a streakier hitter on the Brewers than Corey Hart?
He's on a good streak right now. The Brewers need him. Braun missing his 7th start. As Fielder takes a strike. Braun still on the Powerball home run leaderboard, but Ricky Weeks passed him with that inside the Parker yesterday. Fielder still leads the club. And just one off the National League lead as well to start games today. Actually, two off the lead. Berkman homered last night. Lance Berkman leads the league with 24 homers. Fielder with 22. He and Matt Kemp with 22 home runs. We will have an update on Ryan Braun. We'll hear from him next half inning. Braun disappointed he is unable to get back on the field. He's missing start number 7. And hoping he can return tomorrow. That gets away from Hernandez. And Hart on his way to second.
Good base running right there by Corey Hart. Ball doesn't get too far away. Watch him read this ball in the dirt right away. The only way you get to second base on that is if you have a commit intent to go to second base. If you're going back, if you think the catcher's just going to catch it, you're stuck at the ground, you can't get there.
That was one of the things we saw a lot of this spring. The drills that Ron Renicky had his base runners do were that exactly what you said. That secondary lead and preparing for a pitch in the dirt with every pitch. Pays off here. It was relatively simple for Hart to reach second base on a ball that didn't get a couple of feet away from Hernandez. Still no official rule on no scoring on the play. Wild pitch or pass ball. And it'll be a wild pitch. So a run is in, a runner at second base, and Prince Fielder up with a 3-2 count. Fielder gets sawed off. Hart retreats to the bag. And Cozart makes a play for out number 2. Now 2 gone, and here comes the star from last night's game, Mark Kotsay.
25, left fielder, Mark Kotsay.
Well, after you win a ball game and a thriller that it was against a division rival, that's the kind of ovation you get. Kotsay back in the starting lineup. Says his body feels fine. He's enjoying the playing time. And certainly the at-bats starting to stack up for him, paying off as well at the plate.
Always nice to have a veteran guy that can fill in there for an extended period of time. Mark Kotsay stepping up for Ryan Braun's absence. Sometimes as a veteran player, you like that. You take it as a challenge for yourself to fill the role of a guy like Ryan Braun. I mean, you're not going to do it on a daily basis, but you still got a lot of pride. I mean, look at the emotion he had last night on that game-winning hit. Looked like they're still trying to pound him inside those fastballs.
Well, Kotsay, we talked about how well he's been swinging the bat lately. Look at his month of July so far. Hitting at a .400 batting average. Kotsay 258 overall. Had 2 hits last night.
It's hard to simulate when you're not playing every day. Tracking balls. You're in that cage getting as many swings as you possibly can, but not quite the same when you're facing a big league pitcher.
Kotsay saved the biggest hug of the night for his hitting coach Dale Swaim after all of that. Those two have done a lot of work in the cage and seeing some of the fruits of the labor as Kotsay takes a strike from Cueto. 3-1. Hitting coach Dale Swaim and the veteran Mark Kotsay. Corey Hart takes his lead at second. Kotsay into center field. Stubbs coming in. That's going to fall. Hart on his way to the plate. He will score. And now even the flares are falling for Kotsay. 2-0 Milwaukee as Kotsay drives in run number 2 of the first inning.
Looked like Stubbs got his feet tangled up on a little bit, broke back, ball at the end of the bat. Good piece of hitting using the middle of the field. Stubbs a little frozen on the play. When you're hot, you're hot. Big 2-out knock. Marcotte.
Hard was on the move with 2 away. He scores easily. 2-0 on Johnny Cueto and the Reds on 3 first-inning hits. Now Casey McGee. And a bouncing ball out to Cozart. He'll go the easy way for the out, and the inning is over. Good start for the Milwaukee Bears tonight. 2-0 Brewers.
It and making it a lot worse, which is something we want to avoid. So, we'll sit down and discuss it after batting practice. We'll see how this goes. So, just kind of try to take it step by step.
That is a frustrated Ryan Braun. He certainly understands why, and he mentioned the risk versus the reward. But Braun out of the lineup once again, and an injury that occurred in Minneapolis against the Twins last weekend. That was thought to be maybe 1 day, maybe 2 days. Now we're drifting into a week, and you've got the All-Star break coming up. So you can understand his frustration, but talk to us about a calf injury and some of the concerns he has at this point.
Well, I mean, he plays an extreme position. He plays left field, so he's got to be running around. And anytime you're at a game, watch the outfielders. Just because they're not getting a fly ball doesn't mean that they're not running around. I mean, they're backing plays up. They're backing each other up out there. And you have to be in a situation where, I mean, you're going to have to use your legs. And Ryan Braun, hopefully the All-Star break is coming at the right time for him. I mean, the Brewers haven't missed him too much in the last 3 games, but I mean, over the long haul, you need a guy that's that type of caliber player in the lineup.
There's a big bat out of the lineup for Milwaukee once again.
Watch him take batting practice today, though. It looked pretty good. So he looks like he's about ready.
Well, Jay Bruce, all-star outfielder, leads off this second inning. Markham behind him, 2-1. And that one missed. 3-1 to count.
On Tuesday, July 26th.
Jeff Cirillo, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the 3-1, and that one is down and out, ball forward. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Cirillo.
Second try at this. On Tuesday, July 26th versus the Cubs, all fans will receive a special coupon offer courtesy of Subway. Call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com for tickets.
Now, when Renee say hi, Renee. When Renee handed you that card, you just went right in there.
I was excited.
So Renee handed it to you, and you grabbed it, and then you just started to read it right in the middle of the pitch.
Ba, 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 ba.
and then Renee took it back. Jeff Cirillo.
Yes.
You know what? It's great having you, man. These are all the little TV tricks, the little nuances that we're indoctrinating you to right now. We appreciate you taking it so well.
I'm just happy to be here, BA.
You look like you're happy to be here. Got your blue shirt on, all ready to go. I saw you down on the field earlier today. You're doing your game prep. I mean, did you feel like a member of the media today?
No, I think the players were a lot nicer to me.
Were you asking on the record questions or off the record questions?
I was giving Dusty Baker a hug because he was my favorite Dodger growing up.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the benefits of the job, right? You didn't ask for an autograph, did you?
No, I thanked him.
You and Dusty Baker go back a ways.
We do. Yeah.
But you go back with him a lot further than he goes back with you. Because you were a fan of Dusty's first before he even knew who Jeff Cirillo was.
We used to throw gumballs in his direction when he was playing left field for the Dodgers when I was a little kid.
I guess that's better than batteries. Rowland skies one to center field. Morgan is there. Scott Rowland the first out after the Bruce walk. What do you mean you threw gumballs for his consumption, or you were trying to get his attention, or what exactly were you doing with a gumball?
I can't remember what it was. I don't know if he owned a candy factory or a candy shop, or he liked gum or he liked candy, something like that, where all the kids would throw gum out and then the Dodger bat boy down the line would have to go get them.
Wow. Have you ever, as a player, did you ever have anybody throw anything at you? Gumballs or anything like that?
When I was in Venezuela, they threw ice. But it was hot there, so I might have needed it.
You came out good on that. Fred Lewis takes a strike. You know, Dusty Baker and Ron Renicky have a long history together as well. Dusty Baker was an established big league player with the Dodgers when Ron Renicky came up to the major leagues as a Dodger. Speaks very highly of Dusty Baker. Baker took the young outfielder under his wing back then. And we had a chance to talk to Dusty before the first series of the season, and he was very complimentary of Ron Renicky, his talents as a player and as a coach under Mike Scioscia, and thought he'd make a very good manager. And here they are managing against each other in this tightly contested division. So a lot of love for Dusty Baker today from the Brewers manager and the Brewers television announcer.
The human element involved too. I mean, Dusty Baker down there, he's asked me how the kids were, and I said they're doing good, they're just playing baseball, and he's like, yeah, you know what, I'm missing my 12-year-old's all-star game today. I'm not excited about it.
That's the other side of the game, right? It's too bad. Well, Jay Bruce
keeping him close over there.
Yep, just trying to keep that double play intact, perhaps. See if Dusty Baker, he's used a lot of hit and runs already in this series. He's done a good job keeping the Reds out of double play opportunities. Lewis has great speed. He's not a guy that is easily doubled up. Fred Lewis is the third different left fielder in this series to start a game. It was Johnny Gomes on Thursday night. Last night, Chris Heisey, and it is Fred Lewis tonight. Two balls, one strike on Lewis. Popped him up. McGee will give it a look. He's got a chance. And Casey just out of his reach as it bounces in the seats. You know, it's always interesting when you see a matchup scenario. Take a look at this near miss for Casey McGee. But here's Fred Lewis, a left-handed hitter,
just out of the wickets.
There were a lot of teams matching up against Sean Markham last year in the American League. They would stack their lineup full of right-handers against Markham.
I think Lewis and Markham played together, though, so maybe he has a little something on him.
Yeah, Lewis was a Blue Jay. Matter of fact, Markham and Lewis and Scott Rowland, all teammates with the Blue Jays at some point.
Sometimes you play the matchups. Low ball hitter, guy hits the ball the opposite field a lot. Fred Lewis hits the ball away a lot. Markham pitches down and away a lot. Who knows what goes through the manager's mind, how they strategize those things.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Lewis. And that one is just inside, ball 3. Lewis has been one of Baker's best pinch hitters this season. Getting a chance to start here tonight. Got a pretty heavy rotation of outfielders in left this season. Left and center. I think both of these managers are similar in the fact that all the position players are going to get their starts, going to get consistent at bats. Even the bench players will get a start or two a week. So important in a National League setting. Lewis goes to the opposite field, a base hit. That's trouble. That is going to get to the gap. Kotsay cuts it off, but Bruce, who was running on the pitch, will score. And Fred Lewis rewards his manager for the spot in the starting lineup. An RBI double off Markham with one away in the second.
Like a changeup. 3-2 out over the plate. Lewis handles that pitch away pretty well. Got it up a little bit. Bruce off on the pitch, able to score all the way around from first base.
2-1 Milwaukee. Brewers got 2 in the first. Now the Reds on the board. And here is Ramon Hernandez. He homered earlier in the series back on Thursday night. It was a 9th inning home run against John Axford. Hernandez with 9 homers this year, 2 of those coming against Axford, the only 2 that Axford has given up all season.
Good fastball hitter, especially out over the plate. Got a chance to play with Ramon Hernandez a little bit in San Diego.
He's had a good career. Came to the Reds from the Orioles. In his second year in Cincinnati, part of that catching combination. Can't really call it a platoon, but Hernandez and Ryan Hannigan share the duties behind the plate for Cincinnati.
He likes the role he's in right now. Keeps him fresh. Play 3-4 times a week.
He's been able to put up the numbers offensively as well. Hernandez with 9 homers, 23 driven in at this point, and he's kept his batting average over 300. Hernandez goes into deep center field. Nyjer Morgan way back, running out of room, and that one is gone. Ramon Hernandez has done it again to the Brewers. A 2-run home run, a boomer to center field, and Cincinnati has regained the lead. So much for a pitcher's duel early here. Markham and Cueto giving up runs early in their starts.
Looks like a curveball out over the plate. Looks like he knew it.
High off the batter's eye in center field. Hernandez with home run number 10. And it's 3-2 Reds. 3 runs are in here in the inning. Hey, look at that catching combination between Hernandez and Hannigan. Combined, they now have 13 home runs and 44 runs batted in. That's a lot of production from the catching position for Dusty Baker this year.
Especially out of the 8-hole.
One gone with Cueto at the plate.
Nights like tonight, I mean, that's just a good atmosphere to hit. Miller Park. Weather's good. Ball flies when this place is open.
Cueto, a big bouncer over to Prince. And there is out number 2. Yeah, jam-packed crowd here at Miller Park tonight. Live wire atmosphere in this ballpark. Expecting 43,000 here for the weekend games of this series. Last night, just shy of 40,000, and the attendance story continues to be a great story for Milwaukee, the smallest market, but one of the better draws in the National League. Stubbs on the ground to third. He's got great speed. McGee's throw just gets him. The inning is over, but the Reds do some damage. 3 runs in, 3-2 Cincinnati. Inning, a 2-run homer by Ramon Hernandez capped off the scoring, and now Johnny Cueto has the lead. Johnny Cueto, his last 5 starts, look at these numbers, a 1.23 earned run average. That loss came in his last start against St. Louis. Cueto matched up with Chris Carpenter. He went the distance in that game and lost 1-0 to the St. Louis Cardinals on Monday. So despite the loss, a pretty dominating performance by Johnny Cueto. He started the year on the disabled list. Had biceps irritation, triceps irritation. Didn't make his first start of the year until the 8th of May. So he got a little bit of a late start to the season. But he has been terrific for the Reds this year. Yuniesky Betancourt down the line. That's a fair ball. Fred Lewis over to cut it off. Betancourt's going to challenge him here. Here's the throw. And Betancourt in there with a double. A hustle double to start the second inning.
Cueto fell behind right there, 2-0. Had to come in with a fastball. Betancourt, a pull hitter, just hugs the line on this one.
And so twice, Johnny Cueto has done his Louis Tiant impersonation, and he has given up hits on both occasions. Double number 13 of the season for Betancourt to go along with 5 homers. And he is quickly into scoring position for Jonathan Lucroy. Already 7 hits. Just getting the bottom of the second started tonight. Lucroy hitting .283, has 7 home runs, 36 driven in. Little bouncer. Cueto thought about third. He'll go to first for the out. And Betancourt advances to third base. 1 gone in the inning. Sean Markham coming up. Carsuit.com email the boot question with Markham coming to the plate. Rich wants to know from you, Jeff, who is the best hitting pitcher you ever played with?
Easy.
Ben Sheets?
Rick Ankiel.
Rick Ankiel. Good one.
There you go.
He's so good, he's a position player now. Well, what a hitter he was and is, especially for a pitcher.
You gotta love LaCroix right there. I mean, giving himself up. I mean, he tried to move the run right there to set it up for Markham.
That's because Markham has some memorable moments at the plate. And his most memorable moment of his career, his first major league home run, came in his last start on Monday. And a grand slam home run on an 0-2 pitch against the Arizona Diamondbacks.
And he knew it. You see him flip his bat?
Well, he'd never hit a home run in his life, but he knew when he did. Unfortunately, Markham would give up the lead in that game. The Brewers led 6-1 in that game and let it get away. That was the back-to-back games where Milwaukee let 6-1 leads evaporate. But the Brewers have been able to turn it around. They've won 3 straight. Won the final game of the Diamondback series. A squeeze is on. Markham gets it down. Betancourt's in there to score, and out is Markham. Wow, a squeeze bunt. Markham gets the job done. We are tied at 3.
That's how you manufacture a run right there, BA. Double. McCroy moves him over. Pitcher gets him in with the squeeze.
And that was a good old-fashioned suicide squeeze.
In National League style baseball.
Well, fans love it. Great look at it in Foxmo. Easy as could be as Markham gets a beautiful bunt down. It's a lot of pressure on a hitter with that runner boring in on him. So we're all even at 3 apiece. Ron Renicky certainly pushing the right buttons here lately. He is a big believer in the squeeze bunt, and we've seen it a great deal this season. I remember covering Ron Renicky in the minor leagues when he was a manager in the Dodgers system. I don't know if they keep stats on this. There's no doubt in my mind he led the league in squeeze bunts. You can do a lot more in the minor leagues than you can in the big leagues. I mean, it's not out of the question to squeeze bunt with your 3-hole hitter. Right. Something you can't do here, but that is one of his favorite plays.
In the minors, you can get away with a little bit more because there's no scouting report that says that the manager likes to squeeze a lot.
And there's no press conference after a game with 50 reporters asking you what was going through your mind there if it doesn't work. Well, Renicky credits Del Crandall, former Milwaukee Brave, as his aggressive style to managing. As Weeks bounce one over to Cozart, and the side retired. But the Brewers giving tribute to the Negro Leagues today with an old-fashioned squeeze bunt. It is presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Subway. Try our $5 featured foot long of the month. Subway, where winners eat. Sean Markham back on the mound. We go to the third inning from Miller Park, Milwaukee. And a big breaking ball, a bouncer over to McGee. Tough play, the throw, and it's not in time. Cozart with terrific speed, able to beat it out. Slow developing play, and McGee unable to get the speedy Cozart. That's an infield hit.
You know, when you get out in front right here, you're already one step out of the batter's box. Looked like Casey had a little trouble getting that out of his glove. Cozart running down the line, sniffing that hit.
A little stumble by McGee, and a double clutch cost him the out. And here is Joey Votto now with a runner at first. Again swinging at the first pitch. Fouls it away. Votto singled on the first pitch he saw from Markham in the first inning. Votto now 5 for 9 in the series after that hit in the first inning.
Markham around the plate a lot, aggressive out over the plate.
Seems like a very tough matchup for Markham. He's a tough matchup for anyone, Joey Votto. The guy who's around the plate, Votto knows the strike zone so well. He's from Toronto. Sean Markham pitched for the Blue Jays.
If you watch Votto and Fielder hit, similar styles. I mean, you got to pound them inside and keep throwing it in there, because they handle the ball away so well, especially when you're locked in. And both hitters with a well over 400 on-base percentage. When you have an on-base percentage of 400 or more, you see the ball away, you can handle the pitch away. To get those guys out, you got to consistently throw strikes inside to get them off that pitch away. And you can't just throw inside for show. You got to throw it in there for a strike.
And that one almost hit Votto. Votto leads the National League in on-base percentage. 438 on-base percentage currently. Prince Fielder right behind him. Two balls and a strike on Votto with a runner at first. And that one misses away. And Markham a little frustrated with his command right now. I was talking to Rick Kranitz, the Brewer pitching coach, before the game. He said Markham had a great week of work after his start, meaning his bullpen sessions, some of the throwing sessions that he's doing. He felt like he's getting him back in the frame of his delivery now. You can translate that for us, but he feels like the comeback sinker, the one on the inside corner to a left-hander, on the outside corner to a right-hander, just what you were referencing, is such a big pitch for him. He, based on his work this week, feels like he's back on track with that pitch.
I haven't seen it yet tonight, but I know you're talking about that front door sinker that he throws kind of at the belt buckle of the left-hand hitters, and he draws it back, kind of like Maddox used to do for the Braves. Doesn't seem like he's getting that run back that he's looking for at this point.
Well, that one's outside. So Votto draws the walk, and the Reds putting together an inning here, 2 on with nobody out.
Ladies, go behind the scene on August 27th at Brewers All Access for Women, presented by Associated Bank. Learn more about this exclusive opportunity at brewers.com/access.
Well, now Kranitz is on his way to the mound. A quick trip for the Brewer pitching coach. But that just goes to show you, what happens during the week. You can feel confident in where your pitcher is, but when you step between the lines, it's that game activity that's when you need it, and Markham is certainly searching for it right now. You hear a lot of pitchers talk about release point. Randy Wolf references that a lot. I couldn't find my release point in that particular inning or until I threw a particular pitch. Well, you're just hoping Markham can find it quickly. The Reds are threatening. Tie ball game, 3-3. It's early. Only in the top of the third inning. Now Brandon Phillips, all-star second baseman, at the plate with 2 on. Phillips hitting .294 after his fly ball out in the first inning. Into left center field, long run. Niger Morgan closes the gap, and he makes a catch. Tagging is Cozart. The throw comes in, cut off. Both runners advance. That could be a big play. That throw probably should have gone to second. with Cozart's speed. But Votto takes advantage as well. And now the Reds with 2 in scoring position with 1 out.
It's like a fast first pitch curveball out here. Phillips, again, off the end of the bat. I don't know if that's a changeup or a curveball. Doesn't look like that changeup gets squared up very much. Good base running maybe by Votto here, taking second base, but he might have taken the bat out of the hands of Jay Bruce.
Now we'll see what Markham does with Bruce. Got Rolen on deck. Bruce now at 20 home runs for the season. He is 4th in the league. Got Berkman, Kemp, Fielder, and Bruce. And all 4 of those players all-stars this year. There's Scott Rolen. He would be next.
Looks like Jay Bruce really handles the ball inside very well. I suspect that Markham will keep the ball away at this point.
Bruce had 2 hits last night. Both of them produced runs. He homered in the 7th inning last night. He was the 7th and final Reds run. Also had an RBI single in the 1st. Jay Bruce also in the top 10 in the league in RBIs to start play today with 56. His name is dotted throughout the National League leaderboard among the major offensive statistics. And he won't bite on the changeup, and it's 3-0 on Bruce.
Well, when you got a guy getting on base at a 430 clip, you're going to have some opportunities.
And they'll go ahead and walk him to load the bases. Now, baseball's biggest stars will gather together the Arizona desert next week. It is the summer's biggest event. Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2011 MLB All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix, 7 Central, only on Fox. The biggest news concerning the Brewers in the All-Star Game: will Ryan Braun participate in the All-Star Game? I thought Ron Renicky had an interesting take on that yesterday, saying if he doesn't come back, they might want him to go to Arizona just to get a couple of at-bats, to see a few pitches before he returns. Use it like a minor league rehab, but on a big stage. I mean, conventional wisdom would say if he's too hurt to play in the regular season games, you give him those extra 3 days off, but I think the Brewers feel like he's close enough where he could return today or tomorrow, and then of course he'd be ready to go for the All-Star Game.
I asked him about that yesterday, and he said that his #1 priority is this team, and he's got to be healthy for the second half of the Brewers.
Now the Brewers will open up next Thursday in Colorado against the Rockies.
Probably a different type of pressure, though, when you're Ryan Braun, you're the leading vote getter in the National League, too. You almost feel like a sense of obligation.
No, you'd be talking about 12 days without live action if he didn't come back this weekend and does not play in the All-Star Game. Now we'll have to wait and see. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rolen takes strike 2. It's a big hitter early, much like with Greinke yesterday when he had the bases loaded in the 3rd inning. It was Scott Rolen who delivered a 2 RBI single that gave the Reds a 4-0 lead at the time. So Rolen with 1 away. Brewers looking to turn 2 here. And Rolen fouls it away. Yeah, actually last night that hit by Rolen was changed to an error after the game. Beg your pardon. But Rolen plated the 2 runs. As it ended, Greinke's line was 4 runs, 2 earned. I'm sure Scott Rolen didn't appreciate that scoring change last night. Took a hit and 2 RBIs away from him. Markham would love to get a ground ball here. An infield hit and 2 walks have loaded the bases. And Roland pulls one foul.
1-2 curveball up. Good pitch to hit. Curveball, middle plate. See LaCroix, he's asking for that ball down in the dirt. Definitely looking for no contact in this situation.
Markham has 1 strikeout thus far to go along with 3 walks. And the 1-2 swing and a miss. He struck him out. Markham throws him a wiffle ball. And Roland swings right through it. A big out number 2.
Looked like a little front door cutter. First time we've seen that pitch tonight.
Scott Rowland checking his bat to see if there's a hole in it. He thought he was right on it. And a swing and miss pitch for Sean Markham to get him to 2 outs. Now Fred Lewis doubled and scored against Markham in the 2nd inning. He doubled in a run. In there for a strike. Well, Markham, talk about a guy who brings the kitchen sink with him every time. The old cliche. It's hard to tell what he throws. He moves it around inside, outside, up and down. This guy he is a pitcher's pitcher. And he's calling on everything he's got to try to get out of an early mess. Same sight for the Brewer manager as last night. Markham hoping for a better result. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and the 1-1. Lewis takes a strike. Markham snuck a fastball by him, and it's 1-2.
Tough pitch right here. Fastball, inner half. Got the knee.
Now the crowd trying to help him out. Big spot early for Markham. Deals a 1-2, and that one's up and in. 2-2 the count.
Talk about matchups. Lewis won that ball out of the plate. First inning, drove a changeup away. Markham doing a good job right here, coming inside. Started him off with a changeup to start this at bat, but every other pitch has been in the inner half.
Didn't bite. And it goes full, and now the runners will be on the move with the pitch. Now Lewis last year as a Blue Jay, as Markham's teammate, hit .262. Had 8 home runs, 36 driven in. Coming over to the Reds for 2011. And teammates matching up here in a big spot in the 3rd. Nowhere to put him. The runners will start with a pitch. The 3-2. And he is gone. Sean Markham pumps the glove. Fired up after he strikes out Rowland and Lewis. 2 former teammates in Toronto go down, and the Brewers strand the bases loaded. Is the last home series before the All-Star break, but once the Brewers return from a long road trip after the break, they host the border battle with the Chicago Cubs. Hope you'll be here with us. For tickets, call 414-902-4000, or you can visit brewers.com for more information. Tickets are going fast for that series. Cubs are having a down year, but it's always entertaining when the Brewers and the Cubs get together. They got the rally hats on early tonight. Actually, those are inside out, but they're made right side in to look inside out. You get me?
Can you write that down for me, please?
Nigel Morgan leads off as Johnny Cueto is back on the mound. Brian Anderson with Jeff Cirillo filling in for Bill Schroeder. Telly Hughes is with us. Chris Withers, our producer. Michael Odino directing tonight's game. And we saw a great game last night. Our crew giving you some memorable images and sounds last night as Morgan bounces one over to Phillips, and one gone here in the third. Yeah, pretty good first game for you, Rillo, to get in the captain's chair to see a game like that. That's one of the better games of the season here at Miller Park. Did you wear the same shirt for good luck? That's what we do around here, you know. As Hart bounces one to third, Roland takes care of him. 2 outs.
I love the inside the park home run call.
You love the call or the actual inside the park home run? That was what was more impressive.
I just think that the triple is one of the most exciting plays, and then
Right.
I actually see a home run. I told Ricky, I'm like, you're not as fast as I remember. He goes, I got 30 pounds on me more.
That's true. That's not the best way to open up a conversation with a guy, though. Hey, that jersey really makes you look fat. Is that what you were saying?
I don't think there's a uniform that Ricky won't look good in.
He was fast enough to score with ease on the inside the park home run. Is it true that you've never seen one?
No, I was with the Twins my last year when I saw Prince Fielder when Lou Ford for the Twins lost the ball in the Metrodome, and he got a stand-up home run.
Well, this is going to be. Oh, Cueto drops the ball. Votto kind of lobbed it over there, and Cueto trying to get the ball, get to the bag, and deal with the freight train that is Prince Fielder. And the Reds are struggling defensively. That is another error on Johnny Cueto, his second error of the game.
Pitcher's fundamental practice, PFP they call it. Took his eye off the bag, nonchalanted it. Got to look it into the glove. Nice angle right here. Sometimes the first baseman right there, you can kind of close the gap with him too.
Well, it gives Katse a swing at Cueto here with a man at first. Brewers were able to take advantage of a Cueto error in the first inning to score a run. And Katse cannot check his swing. 0-2 the count.
You know, you never want to make a big league error, but an error like that, you really kick yourself because you know you just nonchalant it. I'd rather throw the ball up 3 rows up into the stands.
More stressful pitches. Just looking at the angle that Cueto took, you know, a lot of pitchers will, especially with a guy like Fielder running, you have time to run the banana route up the line, gives you a better chance. He went straight across and misplayed the throw from Votto. It wasn't a great throw from Votto, but it certainly was a catchable ball.
It's not how you draw it up on the high school diamond.
Definitely an error on Cueto.
But Votto definitely could have closed the gap with him and given him a nice firm feed into the base.
When you say close the gap,
what I mean,
run forward?
Yeah, like Votto threw that ball off his back heel. Instead of catching it, shuffling his feet, underhanding the ball to Cueto as he comes across.
Yeah, sometimes you see first baseman take a few shuffle steps and a good firm underhand. That's a good point. Well, we'll see if Katse can do something. Fielder takes off. That is ball 4. And here we go. The Brewers getting something going here. Again, let's look at the play.
Votto back heel. It's almost like a little timing fade pattern in the end zone. See, I could have probably pulled about 4 feet in there. The little timing pattern on the inside. Threw it low. That's definitely not how they work on it in spring training, I can tell you that. And now Cueto's thrown 6 more pitches this inning.
And he has some high stress pitches coming here to Casey McGee with 2 on and 2 out, all tied at 3. Kotsay just keeps delivering great at bats. Had a single and an RBI in the first inning. He walked to get McGee to the plate here. Ron Renicky was raving about his 9th inning at bat last night. And you know, it's more than just results with you guys. You're talking about, and you pointed the same thing out during the broadcast last night. Cordero was pounding him with fastballs, but he's had success against Kotsay with his changeup in the past or the splitter that he throws. Kotsay turned around a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that was in off the plate to deliver the 2 runs last night in the 9th inning. As McGee takes one down and away, 2 balls and a strike on Casey McGee.
You know what that's called? You know what he did last night? He gator armed it. He alligator armed it. Yeah, like a little alligator has little arms.
Yeah.
He brought those little arms in.
It's kind of like you at when we go to dinner, right? Going for the check.
What? Oh, yeah.
Hitters count for McGee. Let us know when you see someone else gator arm one. Is there an opposite of gator arm? As McGee draws the walk, and all of a sudden Cueto having a hard time throwing strikes after the error. And Brian Price, the Reds pitching coach, on his way to the mound to settle down his starter. Bases loaded, all of this coming with 2 outs and all set up by the error from Cueto.
Right. I mean, people always dissect the games. They look for the big hits, big pitches, errors. But now he's thrown 11 pitches that he didn't have to throw because of the error. And we're in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, one builds to the next. He may in fact get out of this inning, but certainly having to reach back for something extra here in the Brewer half of the 3rd. And he was on his way to a very quick 3-up, 3-down inning. Bases loaded. Here is Betancourt. Free swinging Brewer shortstop. And he takes a strike.
That's an interesting discussion too. And Brian Price goes out there because he just walked the last 2 guys. Face a guy like Betancourt, first ball hitter. What do you want to do? Let's get ahead with a strike.
Yeah, notorious first pitch hacker in Betancourt. You think maybe Brian Price went out there and said, "Don't worry about it, John. You know, your defense lets you down there. You're doing all right." Even though it's Cueto who has the 2 errors today. Betancourt doubled against Cueto back in the 2nd inning. He doubled and scored. He scored on Markham's squeeze bunt. Got Fielder over at 3rd, Kotsay at 2nd, McGee at 1st. Sean Markham stranding the bases loaded in the 3rd inning. Back-to-back strikeouts. Now the Brewers load him up here in the home 3rd. And a tapper foul, 1-2 on Betancourt.
Reach back for a little bit more right there at 96. Looks like they're attacking Betancourt.
Impressive numbers from Cueto.
Last 3 pitches, inner half. Going to his hard sinker.
Cueto ahead in the count. Betancourt trying to give the Brewers a big hit early. And there's a ground ball to Cozart. Makes it look easy. And the again, Betancourt retired. The Brewers strand the bases loaded.
The 3-2 again. And the fly ball to deep to left. Joyce will go back, and that one is gone. Derek Jeter with number 3,000. It's a home run to left.
The call from Dwayne Statz, former Yankees announcer, now calling game for the Rays. History made at Yankee Stadium earlier today. Derek Jeter, part of a 5-hit game. His second hit of the day, a home run, and the 28th player into the 3,000 hit club. Congratulations to Derek Jeter, and he does it in grand fashion today. Was 5 for 5 for the Yankees. That home run tied the game. His third home run of the year, and he becomes the first to launch into the 3,000 hit club since Craig Biggio back in 07, 28th overall. Just an impressive feat that Derek Jeter, one of the youngest to reach 3,000 hits. And Jeff, you can certainly speak to the fact of how hard it is to get to that number. The fact that only 28 players have done it is a major indication, but that kind of consistency to stay healthy enough to do it and to continue a great career.
Some people were just born lucky. Derek Jeter. I mean, who does not want to be Derek Jeter? New York Yankee captain, 3,000 hits, playing shortstop for the Yankees.
Jeter, 37 years of age.
That guy's got a shot at it.
Yeah, he certainly does. And wouldn't that be something as you think forward in that long-term contract that Ryan Braun signed? Derek Jeter broke in the big leagues in '95. His first hit at the Kingdome in 1995. And here he is in 2011. Still at it. And now in the 3,000 hit club. Now Jeter, as we mentioned, just 37 years of age. Ty Cobb, the youngest to get to 3,000. Got Hank Aaron did it at the age of 36. Robin Yount, as a Brewer, was 36 years of age. Pete Rose, the all-time hits leader. So Jeter, 37 years, 13 days. Hernandez to right, pretty well hit, but Hart is there. Out number one. One away for Markham. And our AT&T trivia tonight, speaking of Derek Jeter, before Jeter, who is the only other player to hit a home run for his 3,000th hit? Good question. You know what's interesting about the home run today? It came at 2 o'clock Eastern time. Exactly 2 o'clock Eastern. I heard Michael Kay point that out on the Yes Network. Derek Jeter wears number 2. If you're into that kind of thing. Cueto bunts for the out, trying to bunt his way on. 2 gone. Now we wonder who's going to be next. Will Johnny Damon play long enough to get to 3,000 hits? Will Ivan Rodriguez make it to 3,000 hits? You see Pudge at 28.42. Omar Vizquel. You would think Alex Rodriguez, if he stays healthy, would do it. Johnny Damon, perhaps. I'm not sure about Pudge and Vizquel. You don't know how many at-bats they're going to get over the next few seasons to hang in there long enough to do it.
Well, the way Johnny Damon's swinging the bat this year, he's such a freak as far as being an athlete. Keeps himself in good shape. Swings the bat. He's got speed still. A lot of ways to get a base hit.
There was a time when Jeff Cirillo was on a pretty impressive list. Jeff was in the big leagues in '94, Jeter '95, and as Derek Jeter led that list, you were 4th on that list, '96 to 2001. What'd you finish with?
I think we need to put the stat back up there because that looked kind of cool.
Oh, you didn't get to see that long enough?
No. I mean, you live for things like that when you get older.
Now you're producing from the booth. Second day on the job, and he's already producing. As Markham strikes out Drew Stubbs to end the inning. You'll get your graphic when we're ready to give you your graphic.
So far, 3 from each team. Corey Hart will get it started for the Crew in the bottom of the first with an RBI single. Mark Kotsay will follow suit with an RBI single of his own to put the Crew up 2 runs. In the top of the second, Fred Lewis with an RBI double to cut the lead to 2-1. Ramon Hernandez will give the Reds a 3-2 lead with a 2-run home run, but Sean Markham with a suicide squeeze bunt to tie things up at 3 apiece. And that's where we stand here in the bottom of the 4th, B.A.
All right, Telly, thanks. As Lucroy bounces one out to Cozart. He's been busy tonight. We check back in with Telly Hughes.
NBA, we check in with the Crew in the community. Earlier today, the second Brewers block party took place at Tippecanoe Park on Watermount Avenue in Milwaukee. The block party featured appearances from Brewers players and coaches, Bernie the Brewer, Clemens Famous Racing Sausages, plus raffle prizes including Brewers tickets and game-used memorabilia. Again, tomorrow at 11 a.m. at Tippecanoe Park in Milwaukee.
Wow, did you see Carlos Gomez's fro right there? That was impressive. And look at him. He's got it all bunched up in his hat. Look at this. I had no idea. I walked into the clubhouse the other day and he was wearing this style. And that's beautiful. That's Bozo the Clown borderline right there.
I was going to go with the young Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah. That's solid growth from spring training to now.
I would think it would itch underneath your hat on a hot day.
Who knows? Well, you can keep a lot of stuff in there. Wonder how tall he is now with the afro. See, McGee, he's jealous of that hair. You feel like that hat's just gonna pop right off. Gomez scored the winning run last night. Pinch ran for Fielder. And Markham swings and misses. Down he goes on strikes.
Looks like both pitchers starting to settle into the game now.
Cueto with 2 outs, back to the top of the order. Believe it or not, that's Cueto's first strikeout. What do you like better, the dreadlocks like Cueto and Weeks, or the full mushroom like Carlos Gomez?
I like Ricky's hair.
The Predator.
Yeah.
One of 2 weeks in the big leagues right now. Ricky and his brother Jamal. See, that hat just popped right off. That can only be contained for so long.
Gotta let it breathe.
Oh, it has to have some circulation for sure.
Breathe, let it breathe. Be fun to watch Ricky Weeks in that home run derby, though.
Yeah, looking forward to that Monday.
Especially if the roof's open in Arizona. Those panels are open.
Ball's going to be flying in Arizona. Should be a fun home run derby, and the Brewers will represent half the National League field. Team competition this year. And Cueto ties up Weeks.
That's a big league pitch. 96 with boring, sinking action. Definitely the pitching. Ricky Weeks a little differently this game. Going inside more.
2-2. Cueto has used that spin motion from the windup a great deal. I don't remember ever seeing that from Cueto. Obviously, it's something he's been doing since the Brewers last saw him. I thought maybe at first it was in tribute to the Negro League throwback uniforms, but apparently this is part of his arsenal. As Weeks draws the walk, Ricky Weeks keeps it going. Well, you got breaking news here. John Steinmiller just handed me a press release. Ryan Braun has officially taken himself out of the All-Star game. He will not participate. So he's going to miss the game. Andrew McCutchen will start in Braun's place. That news just coming from the Brewers Media Relations Department and Major League Baseball. That's a shame. So that answers a lot of questions. We were just speculating about that earlier in the game, and there was some talk that Braun might go to the All-Star game just to get a couple of at-bats. And he was the highest vote getter. He drew nearly 6 million votes, most in the National League. He will skip the All-Star game and try to recover from a calf injury. And I'm sure Brewers fans, as much as they wanted to see him in Arizona, glad that he is going to get some time off and hopefully be ready to go in Colorado Thursday.
Big picture.
Big picture. A lot of injuries out. Derek Jeter is going to skip the All-Star game as well. He doesn't want to take any chances with a healed calf injury. Derek Jeter with his 3,000th hit today. Interesting that Jeter has had 3 career 5-hit games. Has not had a 5-hit game since 2005. He had one today. His second hit was hit number 3,000. So not only does he come up with 3,000, but he gets 5 hits in a game to do it for the 3rd time in his career. They've all come at Yankee Stadium. And incidentally, his last 5-hit game was against the Tampa Bay, then known as the Devil Rays, back in 05. But he is not going to participate in the All-Star game. I don't think the calf was a problem for him today. Alex Rodriguez is out as well. Shane Victorino. Rodriguez has a slight tear in his meniscus, and he is contemplating surgery that would knock him out for a month.
At least. They say it's a 2 to 4 week injury, but it's tougher to come back from. Sometimes you think after you come back from a meniscus tear that you think you tear it again. And you're like, man, is it still torn? I think I don't think they got enough. They got all of it.
It still hurts.
It does hurt. Guy just having trouble with keeping his uniform in his pants. I saw Gary Darling say something to him earlier as he ran down the line.
He's too fast for his jersey. It's like cool Papa Bell. I mean, this look for Nigel Morgan is not too different than what he always looks like.
I want him to start spinning his bat like Mickey Rivers. That's what I want to see. Do the womp here, put the hat underneath the helmet.
Nigel Morgan is a guy you could drop down in any era, including 1923, and he'd be good to go.
Talked to one of his best friends today from Walla Walla.
There's a shot back up the middle, a base hit, and more activity with 2 outs. The Brewers doing some damage with 2 away, not allowing Cueto to get through the innings easily here. So more stressful pitches coming as Morgan continues to swing a hot bat.
Well, he's got some great hands. Comes down on this ball. Straight line hitting right where it came from.
So Cueto with 2 on and Hart coming up. A walk and a single. And 2 quick outs did Cueto. Weeks walk. Nigel Morgan with a base hit. And now here is the red hot Corey Hart.
Seems to me that when Cueto gets in trouble, he tries to pound the right-handers inside.
Right on cue, back inside, and he ties up Hart. It is impressive to hear you talk like a hitter as you're watching. I mean, I'm sure as a player you did the same thing, thinking it through. And you're talking about Cueto coming back inside when he gets in trouble. 2 inside corner fastballs, and he is quickly ahead of Hart 0-2. Knowing it's one thing, executing it's another, I guess.
Well, 96 with tilt and run. Not my favorite pitch to hit.
Is this where an alligator arm would come into play?
This is where my front knee would try and hit the ball with my knee so I'd get on base. I don't like that pitch. As Ricky Henderson would say, Ricky can't hit that pitch today. No, that's not a strike.
Rillo don't take 2-0.
That's Chucky Card.
All tied at 3, a chance to take the lead here. A base hit should score Weeks. Outfield is deep. 1-2, and Hart takes a ball. Back with a fastball. 2-2 the count.
He's trying to get it in there. It's tough even for big league pitchers to throw that fastball in the inner half for 3 in a row.
Morgan getting all tucked in, ready to run.
Gary Darling yelling at him again. First base ump.
2-2. Hart hitting .429 against the Reds this year. And he takes a breaking ball from Cueto. And it's 3-2. And now that you've seen this sequence, if you're Corey Hart, what are you looking for?
Well, as a hitter right here, you don't want to give up the outside corner and look foolish on a breaking ball. At least I always took it personal when I struck out. So I would never give up the outside corner. And as much as I'd want to look inside right here, I never could. But some hitters take that chance. 3-2 pitch here. I think he's going to come back with another fastball, probably middle in and not in, because he doesn't want to face Prince with the bases loaded.
Yeah, the walk is out there. Full count, runners go, and Hart bangs one foul, got one in off the plate. Looked like he chased ball 4, but he was ready to hack. And that's part of that run you were talking about, that fastball from Cueto. Not only does it have movement, but at 95 miles an hour as well.
When we get the scouting reports on that one, and our scout would say he has boring action, you're like, can you please not use words like boring and biting? He has a little run to the arm side. How about that? Let's just go with that one.
There's not a lack of interest with his boring action. It's boring into the handle of your bat.
It's all in the tone.
Well, fielder on deck. The pitch to Hart. Little tapper. Going to be a tough play. Cueto fires, and it is in time to get the out. What a play by Johnny Cueto. And the Brewers strand 2. Still tied at 3.
Tonight's Tavern of the Game winner is Wilbur's on Old Sheridan in Racine. If the Tavern contact calls the Milwaukee Brewers in the next 24 hours at 414-902-4572. Wilbur's on Old Sheridan will receive 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a 2011 Milwaukee Brewers home game. This offer is courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Sean Markham back on the mound. He starts his 5th inning of work. Zach Cozart leads off, little tapper, and I think that hit the bat. Hit the bat for a second time, I should say, and that's a foul ball. That was called quickly by Rob Drake. Lucroy heard him say it. Markham didn't. There was a little panic setting in there when Lucroy didn't chase that ball.
The old double hit right here.
That is a 2-stroke penalty.
That definitely looks like one of my 60-degree lob shots.
Just ask Jeff Maggart. Tell you all about it. 0-2 on Cozart now. Had an infield hit in the 3rd inning. Playing in just his 3rd big league game, Cozart. He was having a great year down in AAA Louisville. Cozart is 23 years of age, hitting .310, or check it, 25 years of age. He's a .310 hitter with 7 homers. 32 driven in 77 games in AAA, and there is a base hit. Well, he has a quick bat. Those are 2 more hits tonight. And a leadoff single for Votto. Take you back to our AT&T trivia. The question tonight before Jeter, who is the only other player to hit a home run for his 3,000th hit. Wade Boggs did it in 1999, and it was against Cleveland. Boggs playing for the Devil Rays at the time. And that is doing it with style, just like Derek Jeter did today. Jeter didn't go down to his knees to kiss home plate, but, you know, to each his own.
Home run was off Chris Haney, Larry Haney's son.
How you feel about the kiss of the plate right there? Is that something you would have done for hit number 3,000? I guess when you get to 3,000, you kind of do whatever you want.
It definitely didn't look like it was orchestrated.
That scene today with Derek Jeter was a great scene. He hit the home run. All of his teammates came out, and
Posada, first one there.
Posada was the first one, and then the Tampa Bay Rays came out of the dugout and tipped their hats, clapped for him. It was quite a moment.
Dipped in gold. Derek Jeter.
Dipped in gold. That's right. What a life. That one, Lucroy trying to keep it fair. He does, and the throw gets away from fielder. Weeks backs up. And everybody's safe. Well, Lucroy wanted to get it fair, thought he had an out, but went to the wrong side and had a tough angle to get Votto.
Slow developing play right here. Lucroy kind of went to the outside, and Prince stayed on the inside there. Kind of had to throw across it, and Votto is a shield on the ball. Tough play.
Tough call for fielder. He doesn't know which side Lucroy is going to go to, inside or outside. If he's on the other side of the bag, then that's an easy play for him to make. But on the wrong side, and now it opens up the inning. 2 on. That'll be an error on Lucroy. And here's Brandon Phillips. When you get a batted ball like that from Votto, you need an out. It's tough to retire Joey Votto. Markham got out of a bases loaded jam in the 3rd inning. Back-to-back strikeouts of Rowland and Lewis with the bases loaded. And a scoreless inning for Markham.
Had some strange plays around the first base bag tonight, huh? Pick off, Cueto dropping the ball.
All the errors have occurred around first. 2 for the Reds pitcher, and now 1 on Lucroy.
Big pitch right here, 2-0. Falling behind an all-star hitter.
Phillips rips one to left, but Kotze is right there. The Brewers catch a break. Brandon Phillips hit it like a bullet to left field. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Out number 1 for Sean Markham.
2-0, fastball down. Phillips drops ahead. Sometimes you got someone there. Kotze all over the place.
Even in 1923, they had a fielder standing there.
Did he have a glove, though?
He shared it with the other left fielder.
Then was it his?
Community glove. Jay Bruce, swing and a miss.
That's a good changeup right there.
Even with Jay Bruce's power, you figure Bruce is a pretty good matchup for Sean Markham.
Bottom dropped out of that one.
Bruce has walked twice. He's shown a good eye against Markham. Markham hasn't missed by much facing Jay Bruce. That one is ripped into right field. That's going to fall. Cozart had to hold up around second base. Wanted to make sure it wasn't caught, and a good throw from Hart. Another bit of good fortune for Markham. He gives up a hit, but it does not score a run. Bases loaded once again for Cincinnati.
Changeup up just a little bit. Went out and got it. Poked in the left. Guy in second base had to freeze on the play. Brewers catch a break right here, and LaCroix catching the short hop.
'85 pitches for Markham. Well, he is walking a fine line. Costly error. Markham trying to pitch around it. 2 hits in the inning. And Rolen, big swing and a miss. Markham struck out Rolen in the 3rd inning for the 2nd out.
Same sequence, same situation. Got him with a little front door cutter. Last at bat.
Brewers are looking for a ground ball to turn 2 against Rolen. Kozar with good speed. Should be able to score on anything in the air, medium deep, you would think. Another one by him. Markham has been tough on Rolen, and doing it with a fastball as well. It's 0-2 on Scott Rolen. As you see, Marco Estrada getting loose. Last night's winner.
As a hitter right there, Rolen went up the last time and got a steady diet of breaking balls. His first at bat. He was a little tardy on those first 2.
See what Markham does with him here. 0-2 the count, 1 away. Inside. Off the plate, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Keep in mind, Corey Hart just made a throw to the plate. Even though Kozar held up, Hart went ahead and made the throw. If Rolen sends one out there to Hart, he has one in the books. Corey has a good arm in right, probably the best and most accurate arm in the outfield. The 1-2, Rolen bounces one over to 3rd, scooped up by McGee, coming to the plate, and it is in time for the out. Lucroy able to hang on to the baseball. Boy, dangerous play, but the Brewers cut down the run at home plate. Lucroy hanging tough to make that catch for the force play.
Yeah, good play right there by LaCroix to hang in there. Tough play right here. Cutter inside. Gets a long hop on this ball. Not an easy play for a 3rd baseman right there at all. Not much of an alley to throw to either for McGee. Nice play all around. I can't tell you, BA, how tough that hop was that McGee just got right here. That is not an easy hop.
Boy, it made it look easy, and a great throw, and good play by Lucroy. So the base is loaded. Now 2 outs, and here is Fred Lewis. In there for a strike. Lewis doubled in a run back in the 2nd inning. Good low ball hitter.
Likes that ball out over the plate too.
Markham for the 2nd inning in the last 3 with the bases loaded, and that one is inside. The Reds scored all of their runs in the 2nd. Lewis drove in the 1st run, and then Ramon Hernandez with a 2-run homer to center field. Hernandez is on deck. Big chopper out to Weeks, and Markham does it again. Rolen and Lewis leaving a boatload of base runners on tonight. Markham gets to another bases loaded jam.
It's a 3-3 ball game in the bottom of the 5th inning here at Miller Park, and the Milwaukee Brewers are wearing Negro League replica jerseys of the Milwaukee Bears, as the Negro League was honored before today's game. And I'm standing by with two of the honorees, Mr. Charlie Whip Davis and Mr. Johnny Washington. And Mr. Davis, I'll start with you first. Just for Major League Baseball in Milwaukee to honor the Negro Leagues, how does that make you feel?
That make me feel great. I never in my life thought I would be able to live to see something like this. Tim, them that really see doing and seeing what we did to make baseball what it is today.
Well, Mr. Davis was, of course, a member of the Memphis Red Sox, and I'll turn to Mr. Johnny Washington, who was a member of the Chicago American Giants, and just talk a little bit about being honored here today in Milwaukee and for what the Negro Leagues did for the game of baseball.
Yeah, well, this is very enlightening, because most Major League fields and stuff, and they normally don't invite the former players too much around. But I've been coming to here in Milwaukee for quite often. I said the last 10 years I've been out here. I come out every eight years anyway, and but I think it's fantastic, and it gets keeps people interested, because it's very warm here. The fans are great. They're very responsive to the team, and they cover them. So I mean, that to me, I would love it. Something like that, because most teams they don't give out things like this here, and it's a real honor to be that,
Okay, well, thanks for your time, Mr. Washington. Mr. Davis, BA, I'm standing in the company of two great men.
Yeah, and it is a thrill for us to see all these players and to be able to make that connection between the Negro Leagues and the Major Leagues, of course, the current day's players. Such an important part of the history of baseball, and even the evolution of Major League Baseball. That was a thriving league. It was full of great talent. When Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, it signaled the beginning of the end of the Negro Leagues. But I'm so happy that Major League Baseball has taken great measures to honor the Negro Leagues, to give them their place, their deserved place in the history of the game. There's a great museum in Kansas City if you ever get a chance to go see the Negro League Baseball Museum. It is one of the best museums and historical pieces in there that are just, it links baseball's past to baseball's current. I remember the Brewers took a trip down there a couple of years ago with Bill Hall and Ricky Weeks.
It was always great to see Buck O'Neill, too, when we used to play the Royals. He was a good man.
Yep. Yeah, he became the spokesman for the Negro League Baseball Museum. Casey McGee with a base hit and more two-out damage for Milwaukee. There have been a ton of base runners on. Cueto in the last 3 innings has gotten the first 2 out quickly, only to have to go deep into the innings trying to get that final out.
Good at bat right there. Hard sinker inside. Pulls his hands in. No leak right there. Barreled down on the ball.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's a great swing.
Piece of hitting by McGee. Swings like that, hits like that give you the hope that McGee is going to have a good second half. He's been working so hard trying to get out of this slump.
Hitting's like climbing a ladder. Unfortunately, there's both ways. There's 2 ways of that ladder. And he made a great play on defense. It gives the team a rise. He comes up to the plate.
Betancourt on the first pitch, bounces to Rowland, and there's the out at second to end the inning. All tied at 3. We are on our way to the 6th at Miller Park. That this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Brewers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Brewers. There they are, T-Plush fans in the outfield bleachers. And in just a short amount of time, Nyjer Morgan has not only made a splash on the field for the Brew Crew, he's also quickly become a fan favorite. He gets game-winning hits, follows it up with priceless post-game interviews. Tweets his alter ego, Tony Plush. Brewers fans can now join the Plush Nation by taking home an official T-shirt. Plush #2 jersey T-shirts available now exclusively to Brewers fans at the team store by Majestic at Miller Park. A $30 T-shirt. Morgan and Plush both in one. Very excited about it. I like it. It's got a little graffiti look to it. Make sure you get one before you leave town, Jeff.
John Steinmiller's busy out there. Got another replacement for the All-Star game. Chipper Jones is not going to play.
Yeah.
Scott Rowland.
So Scott Rowland has been added to the National League All-Star team. Chipper Jones been battling a knee problem. They need surgery on that knee. So now the Reds have 4 in their starting lineup that are All-Stars.
Half their lineup are now All-Stars.
Markham could use a clean inning. His pitch count is at 95. Trying to plow his way through 6 innings tonight. He has twice stranded the bases loaded. Hernandez homered off of him in the 2nd inning. Reaches out, serves one to right. Hart is there. 1 gone. 6th inning.
Get 1 Terrace Reserve ticket to any Friday Brewers game and 1 general admission ticket to the 2011 Wisconsin State Fair presented by U.S. Cellular. Call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com. State Fair.
How do you feel the promos are going at this point? You feel comfortable?
I feel so comfortable that there was a misspelling in that word in that promo.
And
I caught it.
Fixed it.
No, not the wording. It was just a spelling.
Oh, I see. So you didn't go phonetics there and throwing the producer under the bus, as they say. I think they're doing a fine job.
Look at how shallow Nyjer Morgan is out there, center field. That's shallow.
Did you just change the subject?
Can I circle him?
Yes, please.
One time, can I get 1
Look
circle?
Out. Don't.
Whoa! Yes. Almost.
Wow.
I got to work on that.
Yeah.
All right,
Go ahead and clear it. There you go. Probably the worst use of a telestrator we've had in
Give
decades.
me one more try. One more try. Can I get one more try of this?
Michael Odino.
Okay, ready? Right. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Okay.
Go ahead and clear it now, Jeff.
Okay.
There we go. Beautiful. Rillo with a new toy.
Paint by numbers.
Markham misses inside. I've been waiting for your first telestrator activity. Count remains at a ball and 2 strikes. How's the instructional looking tonight? You have any idea where you're headed? You have any idea what your role will be?
I just got ambushed and we're doing the PFP.
Oh, okay. Pitchers fundamental practice?
Yes.
Is that what that stands for?
Yes.
Will you be playing the role of Johnny Cueto or Joey Votto? Marco makes a nice play. Cueto won't even bother to run. And 2 gone in the inning now.
There are some new things that baseball players are doing today in the major leagues. Ground ball back to the pitcher there. And granted, it is the pitcher running. But he took 3 steps out of the box. Usually just run down the token, run down, touch the base, go back to the home, and go your jacket on.
There used to be kind of the unwritten rule that you at least had to go touch the base.
Right.
You're a major league baseball player. You're a professional athlete. The least you could do is run one out. What if he throws it away? And this is what we're talking about. This just
right
looks better.
And
okay, I'm done.
Oh, there you go. Back to the dugout.
See, and now Now some guy is explaining to his kid why Cueto didn't run it out.
I was watching Mr. 3000 last night, and Bernie Mac yelled at one of the Brewer movie people to run the ball out, and he did not run the ball out when it was a ground ball back to the pitcher.
Excellent reference. What time did that movie come on last night, Jeff?
Oh, you were sleeping by then. Getting your beauty sleep.
That one is hit hard to right. Corey Hart toward the line, slicing. And Hart in foul territory makes the catch. Hidden from our view, Corey Hart comes out of the corner with a baseball. What a play, Corey Hart. Not a lot of room over there. Beautiful. Well done, Corey Hart. Man, what a great catch to end the inning. Is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. By Airtran, go, there's nothing stopping you. And by the Miller Lite Vortex bottle, taste greatness. All tied at 3, beautiful Miller Park. Brian Anderson with Jeff Cirillo and his tamales. Now you really are starting to step into Bill Schroeder territory.
I'm
Just
hungry.
Crushing the spread.
I can't believe how good this is. Really good. Can I get one of those mints after this, though?
He's going to need one. Now he's getting comfortable. Jeff Cirillo filling in for Bill Schroeder, and he's been eating since 5 p.m. You okay? You ready to go?
It's a good kind of fat, though.
Jonathan Lucroy leads off. And it's in the air to left center, playable. Stubbs will make the catch for out number 1. I notice you're keeping score tonight. You're keeping a scorebook, or at least maybe through the first 3 innings. Actually, through the first 2 innings. What happened?
Well, I'm an ex-hitter, so I only put down things when they score. BA. So the first 2 innings where all the runs scored that's when I do it, and then I fill it out. As far as you know.
Oh, I see. So you're only scoring run-scoring innings.
Yes.
You're recreating the inning on your scorebook.
Right.
After the fact.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. You can use that pen, by the way. Well, Matt Gamble is going to hit for Markham. So Markham's night is over 6 innings. Gives up 3 runs, all earned. Battled his way through 6 innings tonight. Didn't have his best stuff. Brewers jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Markham let it get away with a 3-run second, but the Brewers tying it up in the bottom of the 2nd inning, according to Jeff Cirillo's scorecard, on a squeeze bunt by Markham. So it was his suicide squeeze that tied the game. Now Gamble. And he gets under one to left. Fred Lewis is there. 2 quick outs for Johnny Cueto. Back to the top of the order, Ricky Weeks. And Weeks, the Powerball home run count. Number 17 on the year. And it was an inside the park home run. Bounced off the angled wall. And once it rolled in that direction, there was no doubt that Weeks was going to score. And inside the Parker, the 3rd of the season for Milwaukee this year. There have been 6 inside the Parkers this season in baseball. And the Brewers have half of them. The most since 1970, the Kansas City Royals had 7 inside the park home runs. That is incredible. 1979 and 91. So 1979, 1991. 3 for the Brewers this year. That one's hit hard center field. Back is Stubbs with room. Didn't have the carry. Weeks must have just missed it. So Markham, a no decision tonight. Still tied at 3. Toyota game summary. The Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds all tied at 3. Sean Markham, who went 6 innings tonight. The Reds getting all 3 of their runs in the 2nd inning, capped off by Ramon Hernandez 2-run homer. Brewers had taken an early lead in the 1st, but then Markham drops down a suicide squeeze bunt, scoring Betancourt to tie it. And that's where we sit. Each club with 3 runs with 6 hits. The Reds have committed 2 errors. The Brewers 1 on a gorgeous night for baseball in Milwaukee. Takashi Saito is in as we go to the 7th, and the heart of the Cincinnati batting order is coming up.
Saito only 4 games on the season. Being put in a situation here to go through, like BA said, heart of the order. I guess it's his turn to step up. That's what it is. I mean, those guys other than Axford, it's just kind of a rotation that goes on down there in the bullpen. Whoever kind of goes with the hot hand, whoever's hot or whoever's fresh.
And Saito still cannot pitch in back-to-back games. Coming back from an oblique injury, also had a hamstring injury. He was not available last night. This is already a 6-man bullpen. And we were told after the game last night, Saito and Hawkins not available last night. So you could see why Ron Renicky was so eager to push the envelope, pinch running for Fielder and trying to score that run to win the game. If it goes extra innings, you might have been able to get 1, maybe 2 innings out of Estrada, but then you're talking about Mark Kotsay probably coming in to pitch at that point. But Saito and Hawkins available tonight. And if you're Ron Renicky, the way to the end of the game is Saito here in the 7th, Hawkins in the 8th, Axford in the 9th. Somewhere along the way, the Brewers are going to have to score at least one. Zach Cozart. And Saito strikes him out. Good start for Takashi Saito.
That's a good sequence right there. Went fastball in, fastball away, fastball in. You don't see that on a consistent basis down in AAA. That type of pitching.
Well, here is Joey Votto now.
Gone after the first pitch every bat tonight.
Reached on an error his last time up. He has a single, a walk, and he reached on the E2 on a little swinging bunt out in front of the plate. Breaking ball for a strike from Saito.
Good backdoor slider right there.
Takashi Saito was telling us about his slider. He throws two versions of a slider, one that goes down and in to a lefty. He also has one that you would think would be what they call a flat slider, but he does it on purpose. It's a slider that a frisbee slider, the Shuto pitch, and he uses that one against left-handers a lot, especially left-handers who handle the ball down and in, like Joey Votto.
He backdoors it. When lefties give up on it, brings it around the back door.
So it's not a pitch that breaks down, it just breaks across. You always think those pitches are by mistake, but Saito's been doing that for years. The two versions of the slider. As Votto goes into left, Kotsay will not get there on a hop. Joey Votto keeps it going. Boy, this guy is some kind of tough. Second hit of the game. And a man on with one out. Our Miller Lite What's on Tap. Final game of the first half. Tomorrow, 12:30 is airtime for Brewers Live. The All-Star game on Fox Tuesday. And then Thursday, the Brewers are back at it on Fox Sports Wisconsin. That is a 7 o'clock airtime in Denver. First of a 4-game series and first of an 11-game road trip out west for Milwaukee. They'll see the Rockies, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants. The top 3 teams in the National League West. There's the breaking ball that goes down and away. Saito earned his first win as a Brewer against the Twins last weekend. That big comeback last Saturday. Phillips fouls it away. 0-2 the count.
Saito on righties, he'll throw that flatter slider because it's a bigger break. Tough for righties to gauge it. Sometimes it'll buckle him early on, and then later in the count try and sweeps it off the outside corner. And for left, he's got that short, tighter little slider because sometimes you don't want to throw that ball into the barrel of a left-hander.
See what he gives Phillips here. No balls and 2 strikes. Bouncing ball, got a chance for 2 here. Weeks to Betancourt, the turn, and it is not in time. Phillips just beats it. Close play at first base. Brewers turned it about as well as they could, but Phillips beats it down the line, and the inning is extended.
Fastball down. Phillips run that one out hard. Just beats it out. Good hustle down the line.
And a good call over there by Gary Darling. Bang, bang play at first. But now Saito will have to deal with Jay Bruce. Could be a big play as Phillips hustles his way to first. Reaches on a fielder's choice. Saito has been an all-star. He was an all-star in his second year in the major leagues. He did not arrive to the major leagues until he was 36 after a stellar career in Japan. Had 3 years with the Dodgers, spent a year with Boston, was with Atlanta last year. There's that breaking ball on the back door for strike one against Jay Bruce.
I would expect that all the pitches would be out there. Backdoor slider, fastball away.
Bruce has not been retired tonight. Walked in the second, was intentionally walked in the third, and he singled in the fifth inning. Saito now 41 years of age. Brewers signed him as a free agent.
He's going to play a huge role here in the second half. I mean, whatever it takes to keep him healthy.
And the Brewers are pretty strict on his pitch counts and how he goes at this time of the year, especially coming back from the injury. I think just talking to Rick Kranitz, what's encouraging about Saito, the Brewers have been able to weather the storm of these injuries. First it was Lucroy and Hart, then Greinke. Saito's a big piece of the bullpen and is only just now getting back in the flow. Breaking ball missed. The thing about Saito's injuries this year, the hamstring and the oblique, his arm is in great shape. A fresh arm as he hits July.
One of those things, though, you don't want to compensate where you're nursing a hamstring. That's when your mechanics get all screwed up.
Big pitch here. Hitters count 3-1 to Jay Bruce. Lucroy sets up away. And Bruce lines one back up the middle, a base hit. So back-to-back base runners for Cincinnati. Second hit of the inning. And now Saito will face the newly named All-Star, as in the last 20 minutes, Scott Rowland.
If you notice, though, I mean, Votto, Phillips, and Bruce, the one thing they do for any young hitter out there is they're selective. They take pitches. They swing at strikes. Tough out. Know your strike zone. It's half the battle.
Well, Rowland has been in the crosshairs all night for the Reds. Got a one-man on in the second. Left bases loaded in the third. Left bases loaded in the fifth. And now he hits with two on here in the seventh.
I would say he's left a small village on the bases.
7 so far. And 2 more out there right now. Rowland was an all-star last year, not near the numbers this season. Missed some time with a shoulder injury, but headed back to the all-star game. He'll replace Chipper Jones. 2-0 to Rowland. That was one of the quiet trades that went under the radar back in 2009. Walt Jocketty, the general manager of the Reds, former GM of the Cardinals, knows Rowland well. Got him from the Blue Jays to finish up the season in 2009. The Reds were not in a pennant race that year. Boy, did he play a big role last year in their division title. There's a breaking ball strike, 2-1. Rick Kranitz goes to the bullpen phone. Got a left-hander coming up next in Fred Lewis. 2-1 to Rowland with 2 on in the seventh. 2-2. Got a fastball by him. I'm not sure, but I think that was an alligator arm right there for Scott Rowland.
I think you're right.
Is that what you're referencing when you say alligator arms?
Actually, I was looking at the bench for the Reds. So let me look at this replay here. Nope, he didn't alligator on that one.
Okay. Let me know when that comes up. Two and two. Crowd trying to get Saito through this inning. And Rolen swings and misses. Down he goes. He strands two more. Takashi Saito. A scoreless seventh inning going through the heart of the Reds order. Well done, Takashi-san.
Jerry, I know you love pitching. Starting pitching was outstanding, but between Cueto and Markham, getting out of three different bases loaded jams between.
Well, different type of pitchers, Joe. These are guys went out tonight, didn't have their best stuff, got themselves in trouble. But boy, when they got themselves in trouble, made some great pitches to pitch out of it.
Neither a factor in the final decision tonight. Up to the bullpen, now up to Niger Morgan. We'll be here for Brewers Live after the ball game, Brian.
All right, Craig and Augie, thank you. Looking forward to Brewers Live. You see Takashi Saito with his interpreter, Kosuke Anaji, having a conversation with Jonathan Lucroy. Good job by Saito. He gets through the mess, a couple of hits. Votto and Bruce with the singles in that inning. And 2 strikeouts for Takashi Saito. Niger Morgan, a swing and a miss. It'll be Morgan, Hart, and Fielder coming up, all tied at 3. One ball, 2 strikes on Morgan. Fouls it away.
Yeah, Snyder did a really good job that last inning. Pitching away from the lefties, Bruce and Votto. Going with his strength, that slider, shoot toe pitch on the righty.
Hawkins getting ready for the 8th.
Kind of interesting to see the interpreter down there with LaCroix. Hopefully by the end of the year, LaCroix's Japanese will be very good.
Yeah.
That means that side will be pitching a lot.
That's a good point. And it's been impressive how all of the Brewers have tried to pick up the bits and pieces of the language. Morgan able to check his swing. I know one thing that Saito appreciates more than anything is the way that Jerry Naran writes out his lineup card. He actually writes Saito's name in Japanese.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, Brewers bench coach. Morgan fights one off. And Kosuke Anaji, it's his 2nd year with Saito. They work very well together. Kosuke is a great presence around the clubhouse. You can see it right there at the bottom under the available pitchers. That is Takashi Saito's name in Japanese. 2-2. And Morgan swings and foul tips one into the middle of the catcher for a strikeout.
Looks like a curveball right here. Nigel looks back, says, how'd I miss that?
Johnny Cueto, his last time out, went the distance in a loss to Carpenter. See Corey Hart at the plate, presented by Wendy's. Had an RBI single in the first. 1 out of 3 tonight.
Interesting matchup setting up for the next batter. Fielder Chapman warming up.
We have not seen Aroldis Chapman in this series. He picked up the save on Wednesday in St. Louis. That extra inning game between the Reds and the Cardinals. He is getting ready, perhaps, for Fielder.
It'll be an interesting decision for Dusty Baker, that's for sure. You got your ace pitcher out on the mound. In the first 2 innings, he's been dealing. He wants to get his pitcher a win. Those are the tough decisions for managers, I bet.
Tell you what, I mean, conventional wisdom says you play the matchups, but Fielder has handled left-handers this year. Chapman has struggled with his command. I guess it all depends here, and now we'll find out. Corey Hart draws the walk, and that forces the hand of Dusty Baker. Cueto slams his hand into his glove. He knows he's done, and the Brewers with a base runner for Fielder. And Baker makes a call to the bullpen. So Johnny Cueto cannot win this game. He can lose this game, however. And Baker will take the ball from his ace. Remember all those extra pitches he threw with 2 outs in this game. Here comes the flamethrower Chapman. We'll set him up in a bit. At it, game 3 of this series, and we are set up for a great matchup here between Aroldis Chapman and Prince Fielder. Chapman picked up the save on Wednesday, coming back from the minor leagues. Johnny Cueto is out 6 1/3. He has pitched into the 7th inning in 10 of his last 12 starts, but that runner at first base still his responsibility, and if Hart scores, that'll pin the loss on Cueto. So Fielder against Chapman. Power against power. Chapman against left-handed batters this year has only given up 2 hits. He is 2 for 14, or left-handed hitters are 2 for 14 against him. 9 strikeouts in those 14 at-bats. And a big cut by Fielder. 99 with a fastball from Chapman.
Chapman warming up at 98 miles an hour. Look for Corey Hart to maybe run right here. That's a slow delivery. Even if he picks over to first base, I think Corey Hart might be able to sneak in there. Slow developing white pitching motion out of the stretch.
And Chapman picks him off. So Hart in a rundown. Chapman runs down Corey Hart for the out. Boy, that's a big out. Chapman showing a little speed there, catching Corey Hart for out number 2.
Looks like Corey Hart went first move right there on Chapman. When your leg lifts, you go. Looked like he wasn't stealing at all, actually.
Just got picked off.
It's one of those things, you know, I mean, when you don't know guys move, he hasn't been out there for a while. He got some speed. That's some closing speed.
Chapman looks like he's banged up a little bit. Taking a little time behind the mound. Yeah, we'll see what is going on with Aroldis Chapman.
I think he might have rolled his ankle.
And that is why they normally don't let pitchers get involved in rundowns. Reds had one extra throw there. You could even see the reaction of Brandon Phillips. Look at the last step here. This step for Chapman. Right on the ankle of Corey Hart. And just rolls his ankle. Boy, that didn't look good. So the left ankle rolls over for Chapman, which is his push leg.
Oh. Yep. He won't feel that right now, but he will feel that later.
Dusty Baker making sure he can go. Well, 2 outs. Base runner eliminated. And Fielder, who is 0 for 3 tonight, in an 0-1 count. Chapman's going to give it a go. Gave you the numbers on Chapman against left-handed hitters. The other part of that story, despite the 2 for 14 at the plate, Chapman has walked 6 left-handed batters this year.
That didn't look right there. That's his push-off foot. Chapman has given up 1 home run this year, and it is to a lefty.
Brenson even 300 against lefties. Yeah, well, it's 2-1 now. Got another left-hander coming up next in Marcotte. Not like right-handers do a lot of damage against Chapman either. Well, he misses badly again. It was command issues that Chapman headed to the minor leagues earlier this season. And a revolving door of relievers between Louisville and Cincinnati, not even close. And another decision here for Dusty Baker. Got nobody warming up in the bullpen. Chapman has already said he is healthy enough to pitch.
Well, power on power. Fastball up right there. Overpowering, but then after rolling the ankle, wasn't really close on any of these fastballs. That one was a little bit. That was yanked. And this one's also yanked. So, I mean, you can see where Chapman might get in trouble with his delivery. Really falls off hard to the right side, pulling that ball away from lefties.
Chapman has spent some time on the disabled list. Left shoulder inflammation. Spent over a month on the DL.
Right. BA, honestly, when you face a guy like this, it's no different like when Mark Wohlers had the thing. He's still throwing 99. It's like taking batting practice off a guy that's all over the place and then throws every third pitch for a strike. You don't want to hit off that because you can't get any rhythm, get any timing, so you just make the guy throw a strike to you.
And he has not thrown a strike since he injured his ankle. That is 6 consecutive balls. Remember, he was 0-1 on Fielder when the rundown occurred.
It doesn't matter how hard you throw. If you don't throw strikes, especially late in the game.
That one finds a corner. 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Took a little off, did Chapman. That was his get-over speed. We've seen Chapman as fast as 105. Whoa, way inside. That'll get the heart beating a little bit.
The pickoff looks a little bit bigger now, huh?
Yeah, huge. 3-1. Chapman deals strike 2 right at the bottom of the zone. Well, he didn't figure his command was good enough to get a call like that in this inning. Reds got a break.
Yeah, it's definitely a little below the knee.
3-2. Fielder takes off and Kotsay fouls it away. Kotsay yesterday with that game-winning single in the 9th inning. That was on a 95-mile-an-hour fastball from Cordero, a right-handed pitcher. Kotsay turned it around. He has proven he can hit a fastball. And at this point, if you're Chapman, do you dare throw anything but a fastball here? I mean, a good slider, Kotsay has no chance, but you run the risk of walking him. Full count. Fielder takes off, and Kotsay takes a called strike 3. Chapman bounces back to get the strikeout, and the Brewers strand a base runner. Boy, 2 borderline pitches. Chapman gets the calls. Aroldis Chapman against Mark Kotsay.
Yeah, just fastball number 1 right here. Mark Kotsay getting behind. If I'm heading off this guy, I'm going to make him throw a strike 2. Gets up 2-0, 2-1. Then way up inside. And you got a borderline pitch right here at 3-1. Maybe bottom of the zone. Not sure on that one. Now you're in 9-1-1 mode. Fouled off. Good at bat by Mark Kotsay here. And then another borderline pitch on the outside corner from Chapman. I mean, you see the stuff. I mean, that fastball is explosive. You see the front side leaking on Kotsay. But command is still probably an issue for this kid.
So Chapman gets through the inning. And we are still tied at 3 as we go to the 8th. LaTroy Hawkins will have the 8th. He'll have the bottom of the order coming up for Cincinnati. Fred Lewis will lead off, then Hernandez, and then a pinch hitter.
LaTroy in his 27th game. Look at that sparkling ERA. Definitely another guy to get to Axford in the 9th inning here, but you got to get through the 8th, and LaTroy Hawkins has been good.
Takashi Saito went through the heart of the order, a scoreless 7th inning. And now Hawkins here in the 8th. We saw LaTroy pitch on Thursday night, the first game of the series. Hawkins gave up a run in an inning on 2 hits. But he entered the game with a lead, and he left the game with a lead. Brewers won that one 5-4. They won last night in comeback style 8-7.
It wasn't a clean inning, but I just have always liked this guy pitching, because I mean, he just seems like a cool customer. Like, there's no panic to his game. I'd feel comfortable giving the ball over to him in the 8th inning for sure.
Now Hawkins shoulder surgery last year. It's been a long road back for him. There's a strike. And it's 1-2 on Fred Lewis. Hawkins in his 2nd year as a Brewer. He pitched in just 18 games last year. Tried to pitch through the shoulder injury, rehab it, and eventually needed surgery. Swing and a miss. Lewis strikes out. Won't even bother to run to first. And Lucroy slaps a tag on him to secure the strikeout. 1 gone here in the 8th. Ho-Chunk Gaming text question. Jeff, what was your favorite and least favorite ballpark to play in? Jack wants to know.
I think that my favorite ballpark was probably Miller Park. Coming back here after being away for a while. My least favorite was probably Safeco Field or Oakland Coliseum.
That's unfortunate, because you actually played for the Mariners.
Yeah, I was injured there.
We appreciate the question. Thanks for getting interactive with us tonight on Brewers TV. 1 gone. Ramon Hernandez.
Watch this at bat right here. Typically, you know, late inning relievers don't want to get beat away, but Ramon Hernandez's strength is out over the plate. So watch the Croy sit up here with a breaking ball.
And that one catches a corner. Got a break there.
Strike zone definitely is opened up.
Interesting how this game has gone along. This matchup between Cueto and Markham. A lot of offense early. All of the runs scored in the first 2 innings. None since. Big bender. Hawkins ahead in the count. 1-2 on Hernandez. Hernandez, one of the best fastball hitters in the game. Hawkins has fed him a steady diet of breaking balls.
See if he goes in right here with a fastball.
Hernandez homered earlier. Back in the 2nd against Markham. Fastball bounced out to short. Betancourt with plenty of time. And a good throw for out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for Hawkins. And now Baker will go to his bench. Chris Heisey coming on to hit. Reds have gotten a ton of success from their pinch hitters this year, including Chris Heisey.
8 for 25 on the year, 320 clip. Look at those numbers for this kid. 164 at bats on the year, 10 homers. It's basically 1 every 18 at bats. Definitely has a little power coming off the bench.
Heisey had a 3 home run game earlier this season. Two outs. Pinch hitter Heisey takes a ball upstairs. There have been 7 players to hit 3 homers in a game this year. Corey Hart did it, drove in 7 runs. Heisey had a 3-homer game. And a guy who gets regular turns in the starting lineup. Bouncing ball to short, and Betancourt drops it. Heisey runs well. He knew he had to hurry, but this is going to be an error on Betancourt. Well, now Hawkins forced to make extra pitches here in the 8th.
Just a 2-hopper here. Long hop. A little flat-footed, going to get it.
Well, let's hope that doesn't cost the Brew Crew here. That is error number 10 of the season for Betancourt. Now back to the top of the order, and a power threat in Drew Stubbs. Stubbs had a great night last night. Had 3 hits, scored a run. Tonight he's 0 for 4. Corey Hart made a great play on him in foul territory to end the 6th inning. Climbing up the wall down the right field line. A 3-3 game, all tied. Top of the Cincinnati 8th. Take you back to that play. Stubbs thought it was going to be out of play. He was going to get another swing, but look at Corey Hart going up against the wall. That's a tough play as that ball comes down the sidewall. You're not sure if it's going to hit the wall or hit you. Not much room between the foul line and the wall here at Miller Park.
Scaling the wall.
Stubbs leading the National League in Ks. And hitting in the leadoff spot for the Reds.
Usually when you strike out that much, you swing a lot of breaking balls in the dirt. Troy first 2 pitches of the batter right here have been breaking balls.
1 ball, 1 strike. Stubbs with 2 strikeouts tonight. 2-1. Well, the Diamondbacks and the Cardinals are now in the bottom of the 7th. Arizona leading 6-3. Diamondbacks are red hot. Took 2 out of 3 from the Brewers. They've taken the first 2 against the Cardinals in that series. Brewers lead the division by a game over the Cardinals and the Pirates. Hawkins deals a 2-1 in the air to center field. Morgan is there, and Hawkins a scoreless 8th. Nicely done. Work around an error. The Brewers coming to bat. Tie ball game. Ball game going tonight at Miller Park. We're headed to the bottom of the 8th. The Brewers got 2 in the first inning. Hart had an RBI single. Marcotte stayed hot with an RBI single as well. The Reds come roaring back. Fred Lewis drives in a run, the first Cincinnati run, and then it was Ramon Hernandez with a 2-run shot. All 3 runs for the Reds coming in the 2nd inning. The Brewers tied it, however, in the bottom of the 2nd. A suicide squeeze by Sean Markham, and we have A 3-3 game. We've been stuck there since the second inning. Markham and Cueto settled down. Now the bullpens are in place. And yes, you four are on FSN. That's Bert Blyleven's trick.
Darn it.
Now you got to clear it. Logan Ondrusek on the mound for the Cincinnati Reds. We saw Ondrusek yesterday. He pitched just a third of an inning.
Tall drink of water, gets that good downhill plane. Curve split, 91, 94 miles an hour. He's done a nice job out of the bullpen.
Casey McGee leads off. He'll be followed by Betancourt, then Lucroy. McGee is 1 out of 2 tonight. Had a walk and a single against Cueto. Casey had a dramatic moment. Did you see Heisey staying in the game to play left after his pinch hit appearance? On Wednesday, McGee hit a 3-run homer, proved to be a game winner.
He also got hit last night to roll one down the third baseline. I can't tell you, when you need a hit, those feel really good. And it sometimes has a carryover effect to it. I mean, ever since he made that play with the bases loaded, he came up, he got a base hit to left on the hard sinker in, and now he's 3-1 the count, and he looks a lot more hitters.
And he takes ball 4. How about that? Casey McGee draws the walk to start the 8th. There's a good start, and now the go-ahead run is aboard. And the wheels are in motion in that dugout. Josh Wilson will come on the pinch run for McGee. So Wilson with good speed will run for Casey, likely to stay in the game to play third. And now we'll see if Betancourt is up there to bunt him over.
Pitch over to first, trying to see if Betancourt will give it away.
Ondrusek has had his troubles throwing the baseball to first base. That was a problem for him last year. He gets the ball here. He's going to second, and it's in time, and Betancourt is doubled up. Boy, Ondrusek threw a strike to second base, and they get a double play out of it.
I guess he didn't have a trouble throwing to first base, so he came down to second. What a slow developing play here again. Trying to double play on that one. I think Betancourt kind of got pushed back a little bit on the bunt. There you go.
Well, that's
kind of getting that panic mode when you're like, oh boy.
Big turn right there. 2 outs. Wipes out the leadoff base runner. Now Lucroy batting. Axford, he'll pitch the 9th regardless. Either the Brewers take the lead and it'll be a save situation, or he'll pitch in a tie game. A luxury a manager has when you're at home.
I don't think McCoy liked that last call.
There's that breaking ball in there for strike 2. We saw Ondrusek, an excellent breaking ball last night. The 6'8" Texan, the 1-2, and there's a base hit. Lucroy singles to left, keeps the inning alive, and now a pinch hitter in the pitcher's spot. Renicky is going to call on Lucroy's backup, George Gataris.
Looks like a little fastball cutter. Trying to come front door with it. A little too much of the plate. Lucroy brings his hands tight in there. Nice swing right here, down on the ball. I'd say keep that average up around 280.
No, big spot. Gataris has power. And Ondrusek starts him with a breaking ball. George with 2 home runs at the big league level this year.
Reds outfielders are all playing no doubles.
Gataris had a key plate appearance last night. He led off came into the game on a double switch, and then he led off the 9th inning. He drew a walk against Cordero and would eventually score the 6th run of the game. Kataris hits one hard but right at Phillips, and the inning is over. The Brewers unable to execute the bunt, and it cost him in the 8th. We are going to the 9th, all tied at 3. All tied at 3 at Miller Park under the lights. The roof is open. It's a beautiful night for baseball on a Saturday night in the Midwest. And John Axford is on to pitch. The Brewers will bring their closer on in a 3-3 game. Axford will match up against the middle of that Cincinnati batting order. He'll have Cozart, Votto, then Phillips. If anybody gets on, Jay Bruce. Josh Wilson stays in the game to play third. He pinch ran for McGee. And here is the Axeman trying to get the Brewers to the bottom of the 9th. Still tied at 3. The Brewers will have the top of the order in the bottom of the 9th inning. Cincinnati won 7 of the first 9 against the Brewers. Milwaukee has won the last 2. And Axford unleashes one to start Zach Cozart. Cordero back up again in case the Reds take a lead. Cordero has blown the last 2 save opportunities for Cincinnati, last night and this past Wednesday. Hit well left center field, long run, Nigel Morgan, and he reaches up. Oh, he makes the catch! Nigel Morgan! Oh man, what a play that was! Just add one more to the Tony Plush highlight reel. What a catch by Morgan. That could be a game changer.
Fastball out over the plate. I didn't think he had a chance of this one. Unbelievable play. Nigel Morgan. Player for the dramatic, that's for sure. Both sides of the ball, both nights in a row here. I think it's got to go back.
And didn't reach up until the last moment. And he steals one from Drew Stubbs. Boy, what a catch. And they're starting to chant Tony. Here's Votto. Axford pumps a 96-mile-an-hour fastball in there. 0-2 the count on Votto.
First 2 pitches, 96 right on your hands. Go for it.
Oh, 2 on Votto. Back in there, moves his feet, and it's 1-2. Morgan makes a great play on Cozart for the first out of the inning. So important. That certainly would have been an extra base hit. If he does not come up with that ball, Cozart can run. Likely to be standing at third base. Otto doesn't chase. You can just see the intensity in every Votto at bat. He tracks pitches all the way in. You can see it in his body language. What a great hitter he is. Ratchford coming after him with fastballs. The 2-2 and a curveball. Little half swing over to Prince. He'll take it to the bag himself. 2 gone in the inning. We have seen this season some outstanding play from the center fielders, whether it be Carlos Gomez or Niger Morgan. It seems like on a nightly basis.
Oh my gosh, these two guys, when you're playing against guys like this, you never lose sight of where the center fielder is. It's kind of like when Andrew Jones back in the day, it's almost like he'd be smiling at you. Like, go ahead, I dare you. I dare you to try and hit it over my head. I'm going to play shallow, and I dare you to go get it.
Just a great look at that last play by Morgan as well in our Foxmo. Gomez and Morgan. Center field platoon. There's a swing and a miss by Phillips. Phillips is 0 for 4 tonight. He legged out a fielder's choice in the 7th, stayed out of a double play. Saito worked a scoreless 7th. Hawkins a scoreless 8th. And now Axford here in the 9th. Did he go? No, he didn't. Derek Darling says he checked a swing. 1 ball, 1 strike on the all-star second baseman, Brandon Phillips. Two balls and a strike. All 3 of these games coming right down to the finish line in this series. Phillips into right. Corey Hart playing deep, and he's there. Corey Hart makes a catch. John Axford 3 up and 3 down. And the best play of the night comes from Niger Morgan. Just tack 1 more onto the highlight reel. Robbing Cozart of extra bases. Top of the order. Pitch, caught, save, base hit, right field. Hard will score. Here comes Gomez. The throw, not in time. Gomez scores, and the Brewers walk off a winner tonight. Mark Kotsay comes through. Who will it be tonight? This sellout crowd. roaring loudly here at Miller Park. And the Brewers bringing the top of the order to the plate. All tied at 3, bottom of the 9th inning. Ricky Weeks, 1 out of 3 tonight, had a single and a run scored in the first. He walked in the 4th. Brewers have had 4 walk-off games this season at Miller Park. Kotsay did it last night. And Weeks lines one back up the middle of base hit. Ricky Weeks starts it with a single. And here comes Nigel Morgan. And here comes Dusty Baker as Ricky Weeks starts it with a knock.
First pitch, curveball. Ricky Weeks out over the plate again. Why is he starting the All-Star game? That swing right there.
So Weeks is aboard, a base stealer. Got a good bunter at the plate, but Morgan has come up with some big hits here lately. When he swings away, had one last night, a triple that drove in a run in the 9th inning. Baker's going to make a double switch here. Andrusek is out, and Baker going to the bullpen for Bray. We'll set him up when we come back. A lot of great moments last night. Nigel Morgan was a part of one. In that 9th inning, the big comeback. Morgan with a triple down the right field line. It scored Katars from second. And it brought the Brewers within a run to set up Kotsay's heroics. Now Morgan back in the spotlight, representing a big spot in the order with the potential winning run at first. But he's going to have to do it against a left-hander in Bill Bray.
Tough lefty, too. Morgan struggled this year with lefties. Basically in a platoon role. Going with the hot hand, and Morgan, a lot of things he can do right here. Probably in a bunting situation.
And he throws it away. Ricky Weeks on his way to second. The 3rd error from the mound tonight by the Cincinnati Reds. That is a huge error. Now the winning run at second base. Well, we'll see if that changes things for Ron Renicky.
What happens here? Scott Rowland goes out to the mound to talk to Bray, saying, hey, I got the third baseline unless the ball's right back to you. You got speed at the plate, tons of speed at second base in a non-force situation. Basically, Scott Rowland's going to have to come get the ball, and the Brewers are going to have to earn it with a guy on third base.
Morgan squares, and he takes a strike. Throw to second. That's into center field. And Weeks won't chance it. Good call. Stubbs was backing up. Give him a lot of credit. He was there. Reds are trying to throw this one into the toilet.
Go fastball high here. Trying to make a play out of nothing there. Really not that big of a lead.
Baker going with a double switch. Renteria, the new shortstop. Bray on the mound. Left-handers only batting 196 against Bray this year. Nigel Morgan up there to bunt. At least he showed bunters last time. Shows it again. There's Renteria. Made an error last night. Morgan takes a strike. And it's 0-2. Morgan is the best bunter on the team. But against the left-handed Bray, he has taken 2 strikes right on the outside corner. See what he does here. 0-2. He squares and he drops it down. Is it going to stay fair? Nope. It's going to roll foul, and that'll be a strikeout for Bill Bray. Boy, caught the lip of the grass and rolled foul. And Morgan cannot advance Ricky Weeks to third.
Corner still up in the play. 0-2. Tries to take it with him. Too good of a bunt. You know what he's saying right there? He's saying, why did the ground crew build up that white line? Why did they build it up?
Well, now it's up to Corey Hart. 1 out, runner at second. 3-3 game, bottom of the 9th inning. Can the Brewers do it to the Reds again? Hart down the right field line. That is going to slice foul in the seats.
Interesting situation there. Going right after Corey Hart with a fastball. With Prince on deck, lefty. Basically setting up. He gets Corey Hart out here. And see him walk Prince and go after Katse.
Well, Katse doing a hit after fielder. Hart into right. Back is Jay Bruce, still going back. Makes the catch. Weeks will tag. And Ricky will make it to third easily, but now 2 men are out. And here comes Prince Fielder. We got Katse coming up next. Is Dusty Baker going to take a chance and face Fielder? The winning run at third. And Baker, you can just see it. He is just grinding over this decision.
The old intentional pass.
Weeks on his toes for a wild one. And not even close. Boy, how about this? If Bray works around Fielder, he walks him. That puts Mark Katse right back in the spotlight for the 2nd straight night. And they're going to go ahead and walk Fielder now intentionally. Almost threw it away. Dusty Baker just agonizing in that dugout. Almost threw that one away. All right, here we go. Brian Price will head out to the mound. And Mark Katse once again last night, his moment in the sun as a Brewer after homering to give the Brewers the lead earlier in the game. Got a fastball from Cordero. He drove in 2. He was down to his last strike. A 2-out, 2-strike single. And a game winner for Mark Katse.
You know what's weird about the dynamics of this situation right here is last night he's already been in a successful situation. Remember I was telling you about climbing a ladder? He's been there. Last night he got the game-winning hit. Now if he wouldn't have come through last night, then you feel like the weight of the world that you let your team down. So he's basically in the bonus. So you want to be in this situation. So you think, oh, they gave Prince 2 pitches. They didn't just walk him straight ahead of me. So he'll give you a fight, that's for sure.
Said he wanted to be in that spot last night. He came through. He's got another shot. Katse, center field. And Stubbs is there. Boy, he hit it like a bullet, but right at the center fielder. And the inning is over. The Brewers let one get away. We go to the 10th. All season long. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. Sellout crowd. We are headed to extra innings at Miller Park on a Saturday night. Boy, another great matchup between the Brewers and the Reds. Marco Estrada, last night's winner, is on to pitch the 10th. He'll have Jay Bruce, Scott Rowland, and Fred Lewis. Brewers make some changes defensively as well. Craig Counsell comes in to play third base. And Renicky going with a double switch to get Counsell in the game. Josh Wilson moves from third to left. And Marco Estrada trying to get the Brewers to the bottom of the 10th.
Who's the emergency catcher now, by the way? Kotze's out of the game.
No, that would be Craig Counsell. Josh Wilson said he'd go back there too. Yeah, George Kataris already used. Lucroy still in the game. Here's Jay Bruce. Well, the Brewers had a great chance in the 9th. Kotze hit a rope right at the center fielder Stubbs to end the inning. Gotta love the way Kotze's swinging the bat right now. In the absence of Ryan Braun, the Brewers are getting big production from Hart in the 3-hole. Kotze is holding up his end as well. Last night, Estrada, a scoreless 9th inning, retired the side in order. He went through Stubbs, Cozart, and Votto to get through the 9th. As Bruce goes into deep right field, that is way back, and that one is gone. Jay Bruce unties it. A 10th inning leadoff home run for Jay Bruce, his 21st of the year, and the Reds have a 4-3 lead. Bruce has not been retired tonight. 2 walks and now 3 hits.
Yeah, it looks like Jay Bruce gets a changeup up, out, over the plate. And he knew it.
He's one of the streakiest hitters in all of baseball. Had a huge May, been struggling in June and the first part of July. But he has turned it around in this series. And Bruce homering for the 2nd time in as many nights. Well, the Brewers right on the verge of winning this game in the 9th inning. Got the winning run 90 feet away. The Reds get out of it, and Bruce delivers a crowd quietening home run. Rowland rips one left center. That's going to get down. That goes to the wall. Scott Rowland on his way to second with a double. Marco Estrada not fooling him here in the 10th.
Yeah, it looks like a hanging breaking ball here on a 1-1 count. Lines it into the gap. Norm can't get to that one. Crowd's still sticking around, though.
Well, the Brewers have been able to answer deficits all season, especially here at Miller Park. As Edgar Renteria will bat for the first time. Came in on the double switch last inning.
Trying for a little insurance run. Counts are just entering the game at third base. Scott Rowland, not great speed at this point in his career.
There's a bunt, and it's foul. Got a piece of Renteria. 1 ball, 1 strike. Reds in the same situation as the Brewers were in last inning with a runner at second and nobody out. Morgan unable to get the bunt down to advance Weeks, and that cost him in the inning.
Renteria still handles the bat very well.
He has struggled for the Reds this year. He was the World Series MVP last year for the Giants. Had that big home run in Game 6. Gets the bunt down. Estrada, his only play is first. Sacrifice bunt for Renteria. Good bunt. Rolling at third with 1 out. And Ramon Hernandez coming up. Well, Estrada needs a strikeout. The Brewers are going to be forced to bring their infield in. Remember, Josh Wilson has not played much left field in his career. As a matter of fact, the other day when he started in left for Braun, it was his first career start in left back on Tuesday. Wilson does have a very strong arm, but unfamiliar territory in left. Hernandez, an opposite field hitter. He tied him up. No balls, 2 strikes as Estrada gets ahead.
That's the way you attack him right there, BA. You either go hard in or slide her out the plate away. Now you got to hope that Croy blocks his changeup in the dirt. I mean, that's when you got a great changeup like Estrada's got. Or split, excuse me.
The 0-2 and a bouncing ball to short. Betancourt cannot make the play, and the run will score. Oh, Uni got a terrible start on that baseball, and it gets through into center field. They had a chance at Rowland. He did not get a great break off third base. Hernandez with a base hit. Another run is in. And it
good
is
2-strike
5-3.
pitch right where you want it. Hernandez, sometimes you just put the bat in play, put the ball in play. That ball got under his glove. Looked like Betancourt right there was trying to put himself in a position to come up firing with a short step to where he had enough time to plant and throw home to get the runner, but just snuck under.
Chris Heisey batting for the second time. It's been a frustrating few moments here at Miller Park. The Brewers had the crowd up. Men on base in the 9th inning, could not score. Now the Reds attack 2 on. As a bouncer gets by Counsell. Oh, what in the world is going on with the Brewers defensively in this inning? Unlikely they were going to turn 2. Heisey runs well. But that one gets by Craig Counsell, and Cincinnati has runners at first and second with just 1 out.
Curveball out over the plate. Counsell leaning off to his left. Looked like he was playing the curveball off to his right. First step off to right. Sometimes you expect them to hit it down the line, and they don't.
So 2 on with 1 out. And back to the top of the order, Drew Stubbs. "5-3 Reds here in the 10th. Stubbs almost impossible to double up unless he hits one right at an infielder with something on it. One of the faster players in the league.
There's no denying his tools. 0 for 5 on the night.
Yeah, 2 strikeouts for Stubbs. They'll ask if he went, and able to check his swing, says Gary Darling. It's 2-0 to Stubbs. Stubbs has only grounded into 1 double play all season. And it's 2-1. Now the St. Louis Cardinals won in dramatic fashion tonight. Remember, the Diamondbacks were up big early. Then a pinch hitter, Tony Cruz, the backup catcher, the game winner in St. Louis. A 7-6 final score. The Cardinals score 4 unanswered. They got 3 in the 8th, and then that walk-off in the 9th. So the Cardinals pick up a win. And they come back on the Diamondbacks like the Brewers came back on the Reds last night, and hopefully tonight. Two balls, 2 strikes on Stubbs. Got him. Changeup, and down goes Stubbs. Second out of the inning.
They pulled the string on that one. It was a good changeup right there by Estrada. Taking matters into his own hand.
Cubs and the Pirates are complete. Chicago winning 6-3 over the Pirates. So the 2 teams that were a game back of the Brewers to start play today, the Cardinals and the Pirates, wrapping up their play tonight. St. Louis winning, Pittsburgh losing. Miguel Cairo pinch hitting here in the 10th with 2 away. Hernandez at second had an RBI single in the drawn in infield. Does not run well. Heisey over at first. And that one's in there. 1-1 the count. Cairo started at third base in the opener on Thursday. Had 2 hits. Had an RBI single in that game against Chris Narveson. Milwaukee won the first 2. The Reds have taken a 10th inning lead here in game 3. Brewers will have Wilson, Betancourt, and Lucroy coming up in the bottom of the 10th. If anybody gets on, Counsell will bat. That play by Heisey, that batted ball, not a hit, Council charged with an error. If you're wondering why the 11 hits are on the board. So each club committing 3 errors tonight. Back up the middle, a base hit. Here comes Hernandez. Morgan winds it up, and he will not make a throw. And the Reds have added one more, another 3-run inning for Cincinnati. As Miguel Cairo singles back up the middle, an RBI hit with 2 outs in the 10th.
Yeah, it's another changeup out over the plate. Hernandez and now Cairo just using the middle of the field, just putting the ball in play with 2 strikes. Finds a hole. Now he's got to deal with Votto.
Cairo sent into pinch hit. Contact hitter, makes contact and drives in a run. 6-3 now Cincinnati. Here is Votto. Boy, how fast this one turned. A lot of offense early in this game. This game was tied from the 3rd inning till the 10th inning. And for the second time tonight, the Reds put a 3 spot on the board. Got to be careful with Votto. He could knock it completely out of distance with a long ball. 2 on, 2 out.
Watch Votto hit. He just never seems like he's off balance. Never out in front. No leak. Very similar styles, him and Prince.
Two and 1 on Votto. The reigning MVP headed back to the All-Star game. A matchup of 2 of the premier slugging first basemen in all of baseball, and Votto and Fielder. Two balls and a strike, and Votto calls time. Brewers got news today that Ryan Braun is out of the All-Star game due to that calf injury. Andrew McCutchen will replace him in the starting lineup. Also during tonight's game, Scott Rowland added as a National League All-Star. Chipper Jones goes on the disabled list for the Braves. And the question is, will we see Braun tomorrow? Two and 2 to Votto. Randy Wolf against Dontrell Willis tomorrow here at Miller Park to wrap up the first half. Votto rips one to right, a base hit. Corey Hart up with it. The throw to the plate off the mark. And it skips by Lucroy. Another run is in. Votto drives in his 54th RBI of the year. And it is now 7-3.
Yeah, Estrada should be maybe out of this inning. Just a cutter in off the plate on Votto. Like I said before, you know, there's no commit to his swing. So he lets the ball travel and just rotates it off himself right there and comes up with another hit. He got jammed, but I mean, he still got a hit. I mean, that's what happens. I mean, any hitter out there, you want to watch 2 good hitters, watch Prince Fielder, watch Joey Votto, and watch how they let the ball travel and deal that ball away.
Reds are putting it on here in the 10th inning. Marco Estrada, as good as he was last night, having a rough time tonight. 5 hits in the inning. There's been an error. 4 runs are in. And the 9th man to bat in the frame, Brandon Phillips. Runners at the corners with 2 away.
There's no help either down there.
Nope. This is Estrada's game. Both teams have had their chances leading up to extra innings. Ton of base runners. There's another hit. Another run will score. Phillips drives in one. 8-3 Cincinnati. 5 runs into the inning. Well, Jay Bruce back up. He started all this mess with a home run. Into center field. Nyjer Morgan makes the catch, and this one mercifully over. Cincinnati scores 5 in the 10th. Brewers got a long way to go. We head to the bottom of the 10th inning. The 10th inning, and they lead at 8-3 as we go to the bottom of the 10th. Still having fun here at Miller Park despite the 5-run deficit. Many of this sellout crowd have gotten an early start on the exit. Francisco Cordero, non-save situation. He comes on, if for no other reason, to try to get it figured out on the mound for Dusty Baker. Well, this was a nail biter up until the 10th inning. Now the Reds by 5. And here comes Josh Wilson to lead off. Cordero with back-to-back blown saves. Well, you never know. Brewers have had some dramatic comebacks. Cordero certainly not pitching well right now. You know that's in his mind. Matter of fact, Cordero starts this inning with bullpen activity.
Interesting that Cordero's in the game. The only reason I can think that he is because he threw so many pitches down in the warming up, but he's already going to be burned for tomorrow.
Well, you figure you're going to, in extra innings, rare is the case where you're taken out of a save situation. But the Reds score 5 runs. Cordero was ready to come in. Baker will bring him on. Interesting matchup tomorrow. The Reds sending Edinson Volquez back to the minor leagues for the second time this year. Dontrell Willis will start for Cincinnati. And reports are he's been pitching very well at AAA. That is off the shin of Cordero. And Josh Wilson is going to get extra bases out of this. How about that for a start? A double for Josh Wilson. Well, now they're checking on Cordero. As Wilson starts his inning with a double in his first at bat, he pinch ran for McGee in the 8th inning.
Been a strange game,
especially for the Reds and their pitchers. Cincinnati pitchers have committed 3 errors in this game, and Chapman had to have a visit from the athletic trainer, and now Cordero the same.
Interesting. When you get your closer in a 5-run ball game, he just takes one off the shin.
And he stays.
Right.
Well, you have to think Dusty Baker is trying to get Cordero back on track. He has not pitched well for Cincinnati here lately. Yuniesky Betancourt. Cubs beat the Pirates tonight 6-3. Ryan Dempster over Kevin Correa. Correa now 11-7 for the year. Cardinals a walk-off win against Arizona. Joey Votto will give it a look near the seats. That is a foul ball. St. Louis winning 7-6. Albert Pujols hit his 18th home run of the year. Marlins beat the Astros. Florida's hot. They've won 4 straight. They were just glad to get the month of June over with.
Yeah, Mary's starting to swing the bat.
Rockies over the Nationals tonight. A good game in D.C. 2-1 the Rockies win. Ubaldo Jimenez the victory. Just his 4th win of the year. Betancourt with a base hit. Josh Wilson on his way to the plate. Here comes the throw. It's cut off. That's an RBI single for Yuniesky Betancourt. And it's an 8-4 ball game. Back-to-back hits for Milwaukee.
Got some life here in the 10th. Just a fastball out over the plate. Tried to go inside with that one. Uni lines it right where it came from. Josh Wilson running hard. Eddie Cito bringing him home.
Now you remember back to last Saturday, 1 week ago tonight, the Brewers scoring 4 runs in the 9th inning against Minnesota for an 8-7 win. They got more than that to go tonight. It was a 5-run deficit to start the inning. Now it's at 4 as Lucroy swings and misses. 0-2 the count on Lucroy.
30 pitches last night. 10 already tonight.
Cordero giving up 3 runs last night in 2/3 of an inning. They'll ask if he went, and no, he didn't, says Gary Darling.
Looked like a slider down and away. Yay, check.
Brewers down 4. Nobody out. Lucroy fouls it away. Saw the Dodgers and the Padres played a thriller today. It was a 1-0 Dodger win. San Diego had a combined no-hitter into the bottom of the 9th. Dodgers got a couple of hits and won it 1-0. Just 3 hits combined in the game. As Lucroy is down on strikes. 1 gone in the 10th. Jay Bruce, our Menards player of the game at this point, 3 hits. Had a home run that gave the Reds the lead in the 10th inning. Here's Craig Counsell now. And he popped him foul. That's back out of play. They played extra innings in Philadelphia tonight. Phillies had a walk-off win last night from Ibanez. Tonight, the Braves win in 11 innings, 4-1. The two best records in the National League, the Phillies and the Braves, playing in the same division.
Good pitching from both those teams.
Yeah, really good. Bullpens. You wonder about the Phillies bullpen without Lidge. Got Matson closing games now. The Braves bullpen, when the Brewers were swept by Atlanta, it's as good as you can pitch. From the starters, relievers, setup guys, closers. I mean, it was a clinic. The Braves and the Phillies both representing the National League in the postseason last year. Atlanta won the wild card. Counsell gets under one. Routine play for Jay Bruce. And there is out number 2. So the Brewers down to their last out. Go back to the top of the order, though. Well, if you are a glass half full, you are trying to get Corey Hart to the plate. He is due up third, and if he bats, the Brewers will bring the tying run to the plate.
Interesting that Scott Rowland down there at third base is playing as deep as he is. Something I'd be looking for.
Yeah, with 2 outs, not figuring Weeks will drop a bunt down. Cordero starts him with a strike.
Those unis are pretty sweet, though.
Honoring the Negro Leagues, the 1923 Milwaukee Bears. Well, the Brewers had a winning streak going in their retro Friday uniforms. Backhanded Renteria, throw to second, and that's a ball game. So the Reds do it to the Brewers in their final at bat. They turn the favor. A 5-run 10th, 8-4 the final score. Jay Bruce, a game-winning home run. And the Reds win for the first time in the series. Much more still to come on this game. Craig Kashan, what do you have coming up on Brewers Live?
Well, we'll look at some opportunities the Brewers sure had to win this game, and it certainly did not work out. Reds top the Brewers 8-4. We'll also hear from Ron Renicky, Brewer skipper, get inside the clubhouse as well. Plus our on-field instructional covering first base.